pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Any public comments? There's apparently nobody unless the press has something to say. All right, moving on. Administrative business. Tina.
Okay. So the minutes of January 21.
Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Check the minutes? If so, I would accept a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second. All those, are any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Okay. I have a big stack of change orders for you.
Wow.
I know, I told you.
Did you limit that?
No.
And busy downstairs.
Yeah.
We expedite those stamps.
Yeah, if it doesn't get here by payday, you're gonna have a lot of fun.
About as good as this, isn't it?
It'll be more fun than that.
No.
You'd have to use my doctor's signature on it.
I might have to improve my signature a bit. Wow. These finally came through, huh?
Can always initial. You know.
JJ. Faster than
She said I could initial, so just improved my speed by a lot. Wow.
Spent a lot of time down
I think this is one of the ones to be protected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Should you-
He was busy. And his mom.
I'm glad all I gotta do is this. To actually do the work to do this.
Good. We do this Nancy Pelosi stuff.
Pass it before we know what's in it.
Should make one little mark on your name and then use a different pen.
Oh,
Oh. You need a lot of pins for that.
you mean, we need $15,000 for bullet point pens too.
Took 15 pens to write her name on.
Yeah. I like that little meme that's going around. It's $15,000 in bullet point pens. Trump takes a $2 Sharpie and makes a $200 million trade deal. I like that.
So do I.
So do I. Is Brad gonna be here today, or?
No, he won't be here today.
Next week, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was just gonna talk about that during that meeting.
Miles not going down.
No, it does not.
They need it as a ballpoint pen.
That's what I'm saying. Not enough of these are stapled together.
These are still stupid.
Wow. Oh, there's a big one. Another big one.
There's no BPY State Bank anymore. Is it?
No, it's under vintage now, vintage bank.
Still just titled that on the computer.
Yeah, it must be.
You'd be all right.
I'm trying to calculate in my head. This is
I signed
got through a million.
What's that?
I signed
It's
on
like
all pages.
52,000, I think, that's what shows on your sheet.
Oh, okay.
So that's like half,
Half a million.
I'll fill in the missing space.
Yeah.
yeah,
A little less
less
than
than
that.
half.
But a little less than 70 something.
Right. You see the end.
I didn't even know it was the last one, just kept digging. So excited I wrote the whole name.
Did you sign them all right?
You pressed so hard that you went through all of them.
Everybody else saw this?
Yeah.
Just you. Sure.
Yeah, I'll let you look at it.
Yeah.
Two bids. Of course, I'm sure you got a correspondence like I do.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the biggest, there's not much you can do,
No.
but it can be to a policy
Mhm.
that could change things a little bit.
Okay, in your packet, you had the final draft of the emergency preparedness coordinator. That's after a few revisions, working with Randy and Deidre, and this just needs your board approval for them to utilize it.
Everyone had a chance to review it. If so, entertain a motion to approve it as written.
I'll make a motion to approve the emergency preparedness coordinator job description as written.
I'll second it.
Got a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I have received a grant application from the health department. It's for the Safe Kids grants, and it's an annual grant application, and this just requires the chairman's signature. The grant amount is $2,900.
Pass that down. Entertain a motion to approve signature by the chairman.
They've been receiving that grant, I think, for quite a while.
Okay.
Back on my seat.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the grant.
I'll
for
second it.
Safe Kids.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All all these tag posts?
Yes, it's 2 full copies, I think. Yes.
Solemn in there.
Thinking.
Aren't you having a good time?
I'm having a blast.
It's not about as good as my signature.
On your table, you have a couple of items. The first one, you've got a resolution there, and then you have a copy of our previous resolution. The country club here in or just outside of Marion, every year we have issued their club license because we're the issuing agency as the county. However, the state recently, they changed their classification recently, and the statute has changed on that. And so now that requires a biannual, so every 2 years license rather than an annual license. And the state wants our license period to mirror the one from the state. And so that requires us to have a new resolution to go along with that. So I have the resolution, and then I also have the actual license for approval.
And this is resolution.
This will be 2020-03.
2020.
So have we been charging 200 a year?
We've been charging $100 a year.
That's gonna have to go up then.
This,
Well,
it says
not
between,
necessarily, if
right,
it's 2
between
years.
$200 and $500 for 2 years, and so
Yeah, 2 years.
it's just changing the licensure period. If you want to change the fee, you're welcome to do that, but we have just been charging $100 a year.
2020
-03. And then this will be the one that we sign, but, okay.
Well, could I get a motion to approve resolution number 2020-03?
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other
Do
discussion?
we need to leave it the same?
The fee?
Okay. We need to, it's $100 a year, or,
It'd be $100 a year, but it says no more than 500. So I
Yeah.
don't know if they wanted to adjust that or leave it the same or.
What other ripple effect establishments would this create for us? I know the city usually issues for within the city limits,
Mhm.
so.
This is
we-
the only existing one that we have right now, outside the city limits.
So it wouldn't cause a ripple, it would just be to this one if we increase the fees.
yeah, it'll be the same price as it has been for years. If we leave it
If you leave it the
at
same.
$200.
But I mean, you have the option of going up on it too.
That might be a separate question, because the resolution is between $200 and $500 for the biennial permit, so you could then decide what the fee will be after you pass the
You
resolution.
could change the actual permit, right?
The permit itself doesn't have the, oh yeah, it does, it has, and for this cycle, because it's a strange time period, we're doing 150, because it's for a year and a half. So, based on the previous amount. Now, if you can make a motion about that if you want that to be different, or if you want to set future permits at a certain level, then you can make a motion about that.
I think the permit is open-ended not part of this discussion. So,
Right.
we have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I get you to sign this one?
The official one?
Yeah, it doesn't have a stamp on it.
Confusing.
And I do have their permit for approval, and it does state the fee for a year and a half at $150. So this, if you do a motion and vote to approve this permit, you can also address the fee at that time.
I think with this being midstream, they should have some sort of notification period ahead of time rather than just springing them out.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we leave the biannual dues going forward, $200 biannual, and reissue the new permit at $150 for a year and a half.
Okay, have a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Everybody
Discussion.
I'm not gonna go against the commission, I'm just saying, it was open-ended at a higher fee if you wanted it.
Yeah, I just thinking taking that out.
It's a
The next
it's a
time.
nonprofit.
Yeah. So, motion in a second. Does that include the authorization for,
I'm sorry, I need to ask you, if anyone is a member of the county, of the country club, they should not be making the motion or abstain from this. So, if you are a member of,
I am currently, I'm not gonna be next year,
but I'm just saying,
Currently.
Oh, okay, yeah.
so I don't care whether they have it or not, I just think it ought to be cleaned up, the county commission.
okay, I guess I will withdraw my motion.
okay.
I'll go my second.
I will make a motion to approve
Rescinded.
Good, I didn't know.
This
Did you remember that?
permit at $150 for a year and a half,
Give
He
me,
won't be next year though.
That's right, I didn't think that.
and authorize the chairman to sign the permit. Have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained, I guess.
There you go.
Yes, abstain.
Now you're learning.
Catch it.
It'll take a while.
Thank you. Who seconded?
I can't.
Okay, sorry, I was still writing. Okay. Also on the table are the allocation requests that we had. These were written into the budget from sales tax. But to go ahead and actually pay them, that, I always ask for board approval specifically on all of those.
Would it be in the
Restoration Center,
board's wishes to do these one by one?
we can, however you want.
That way we can take up each issue
Okay, all right.
individually.
All right.
All right, Kansas Legal Services has a request at $4,000. Last year was a $4,000 funding.
I'll move we approve the request of Kansas Legal Services for $4,000.
I'll second it.
Moving second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I'm going to skip the Safe Hope for now. We're going to go on to Families and Communities Together. A request of $6,000. Last year had a $6,000 funding.
I'll move we approve the Families and Communities Together request of $6,000 for 2020.
I'll second
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Marion County Food Bank. Last year's funding was $6,000. 2020 requested $6,000. I'll make a motion that we approve Marion County Food Bank.
Second.
Got a second by
I second.
by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now go back up to, I'm assuming that Safe Hope had no 2019 funding, is that?
They didn't. We have funded them in recent years, and last year we didn't actually receive a request. We did have it in the budget, but we never received a written request, so they did not actually receive their funding last year. We have funded them about this level for the past, I think, 5 years. They were previously a different organization name. There was a change to the Safe Hope, I think, 2 years ago.
But they still maintain an office downtown.
They have an office right here in Marion, yes.
But we didn't receive any request for funding.
No, not in 2019. I don't know if they had a transition in staff or how that was. It was budgeted. We didn't receive a request, and we did not pay them in 2019.
Well, hearing that from the Safe Hope, their 2020 request is $2,500 with no request last year, 2019. A motion or discussion?
Did they didn't come to the commission at all last year, did they, to
No.
report?
No.
I mean, it would kind of be nice to know how many clients these entities serve. Could we postpone that until maybe?
Sure.
Entertain a motion to table the Safe Hope
I'll make a motion.
budget allocation. Got a motion?
I'll second it.
Got a second? By Dave. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. And then down to the final one, we have the Restoration Center. In 2019, we funded them $4,276.13. This year, they're requesting $12,000. Not sure what you think about that one.
Do we have any updated information about how many clients they may be serving?
Not recent, no.
We had it when they came before for the budget, though. They gave a report.
Yes, they
And
did
of
in
course, they are
2000.
growing, you know, as alcohol use and drugs increase, so are they. But by
Yep.
statute, they should have all the alcohol funds. Now, I don't know what that number would be. We
It
don't
would
know
be
yet.
about
Last year we
$4,000.
gave- Pardon?
It would be about between $4,000 and $5,000 if you transition the special alcohol funds away from the current administrator and to them specifically.
So right now, the current alcohol funds are going up to the Families Together Fact, am I right?
It's not going to them, they are administering it on behalf of the county through the Substance Abuse and Prevention Coalition. SAPC is the group that is in charge of
I think it would be
those.
better to change the administrator on that and bring it back to the county, actually. And if we want to give it to them or whoever, I think would be wiser to do. But as far as the Restoration Center, I have a passion for that, simply because of the tremendous drug problem that we have in our county and other counties. I mean, it's not just limited to Marion, of course. But we all know we have, our drug problem is horrendous, and we need to be addressing people who have drug issues. And this is the center that is in multiple counties that do address and treat. They provide treatment to addicts and people who are on probation. And for us, I think we really need to be vigilant in this effort to help get these people the treatment that they're ordered to get to by the court, actually.
But is the court referring them specifically there, or is the court referring them to Prairie View, or are they referring them to where?
I'm gonna say both because Judge Powers is very well aware of this organization. He supports this. He sat right here and told us he supports it. Now, granted, they are a new organization by what, about 2 years maybe? I'm not sure. They're about 2 years old. in our area, but they're certainly not, it's not that they don't have a track record or a purpose, because they do, and the court does recognize them. And like I said, they sat right here in front of us and told us that they utilize them in the other counties and so on. And until something happens that they don't want to utilize them, I guess I'm for them. Like I said, I don't know how we could possibly turn our backs on something this important.
And the reason that I put this out of sales tax is just because it would be an easier method, because for you to do the special alcohol funds and turn those over to this group, there's gonna have to be some formal action by the commission, because you had taken a previous action to set up that other coalition and to allow them to administer those funds. And so I don't know what the exact steps are to make a change to that. So that's something Brad would need to be involved in doing. If you fund it out of sales tax for this year, that's just simpler, and then you have some time to transition if the board decides to transition that back.
And I'm okay with that. I don't mind that it comes, I just brought that up about because I know in statute it does require, or say that, that those alcohol funds go to treatment and prevention. And so we haven't been, we
Right,
did get
well,
that.
the
We did get that.
SAPC does focus on prevention, and Prairie View does focus on treatment. And so that's how, in the past, the county has handled those two sides. This treatment center, like Diane said, is fairly new.
And they're
in the
not
county.
entitled to all of it, they're just, if
Well,
we have to
the amount-
spend it with these
you have
types
to
of.
use it for those
For
things,
that.
and the issue here is, they're asking for $12,000. Our special alcohol funds are much less than that.
You're saying around 4 or 5?
Between 4 and 5, yes. So even if they received all of it, I don't know if they focus on only treatment, or if it's prevention also, so I don't know what their division would be on that.
Well, I guess I would be in favor of making a motion to table it as we are with Safe Hope until we can get more information.
What kind of information is it that you want?
Well, just invite them in to the
They
chamber.
did come in during the budget process. If they need to come in again, I'm sure they can.
Well, I think just probably needs to be explained to them that there isn't $12,000 coming from a certain area.
Well,
Yeah,
but
we'd have to
that doesn't
budget the
mean-
rest of the sales tax.
Yeah, this was already written into the budget under sales tax.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that we have to give it all to them from that fund. We can give it, like she said, out of the sales tax as well. I was just saying, my beef with the special alcohol fund is, and FACT did an excellent job, I think it was last year, FACT did give us a sheet of where their money went that we provided for them the year prior. In fact, 2-3 years prior. It was very detailed, and as I read that sheet, I was actually very disappointed, because they do a lot of parties, and I know kids are taking out the parties and you give them all this stuff, and, tell them rather than out on the streets and stuff like that. But I just thought there was so much money spent in that facet, and you couldn't pinpoint who was at those parties and so on. It was too broad. So, when you're talking about known addicts versus prevention, I don't want to take anything away from prevention, but I also don't want to cheat the treatment portion.
How long have they been? About 6 months now on location?
They've been here longer
Yeah,
than,
they've been on
Almost
that.
2 years.
been over a year for sure.
I just kind of like to hear from them, what they're seeing in client referrals, or, I'm guessing it's gotta be almost all referrals. I just kind of like to see where they were at. I'm not against holding up funds, I just like to hear from them.
I have a motion to table until we can hear from them.
Also,
I didn't, who made a motion? You did, okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
I'm not gonna oppose it, I have no problem, I think this putting this stuff out on the table is fine. It's a good organization, there's nothing to hide.
4-0? 4-0?
I do have, transport and area fuel bids for road and bridge. So then we'll finish that.
So, we have two bids. Now, I got messed up here.
You have transport and area.
Which one you on?
Okay, so
Okay,
it's
never
one
mind.
packet for each.
Gotcha. We have three bids.
Okay, and transport is all has to be approved as one.
Yep.
And area can be split between the three areas if you need to.
And low bid apparently comes from, area bid comes from Tampa, the MFA oil. No, it's the high bid. The low bid comes from Epps Service out of Elbing, Kansas, at $11,408.75.
We'll make a motion to approve that, the little bit from apps for the area.
Got a motion? Second.
Second.
Okay, second by Dave. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Transport fuel bids. We have 1, 2, and 3. Low bid, again, is Epps out of Elbing, Kansas. Four, oh,
1 and 2.
1,
No, on transport,
2,
area is the one you can
Oh,
split
area,
out.
yeah.
So they were low on all three areas.
Yeah, okay.
at $15,227.
So,
Motion by Kent to approve. Second.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. I don't want to get too far off topic, but I think we need to have a discussion about local area percentage and being able to have the authority, maybe in more of a policy form, on percentage of local bids having an advantage. And it's just my feelings of putting it out there. It's for thought, not for right now. But
Okay, the other thing that I had, which was in your packets, was the appointments to the outside boards. I don't know if you want to do that without Randy here. We can, if you wanted to make changes to those outside boards because we have five commissioners now. And then also two things regarding upcoming meetings. Number one, Brad is not able to be here today. He does have several things to review with the board and has asked for time on the payday meeting. And since that's kind of outside the norm, I want to bring that and make sure the board is, that's,
I'm okay with that.
So will there be public comment then, or?
It'll be the regular meeting then.
Be a regular meeting.
It'd be public comment prior to Brad, because I think he's,
you could do it either way. You could have it as a special meeting with those two topics of payday and county counselor, or you could do it as a regular meeting where you address payday and other business. You tell me which way you would like it. And if it's a regular meeting, then there would be public comment. If it's a special meeting, there generally is not.
as the board wishes.
I
I'm
like
okay with
it.
public comment.
I
either way.
Okay. Okay, and then the other thing was, recently you had made a motion to begin addressing the pay plan within 30 days, whenever the motion passed. So would you like to do that as a special meeting?
Yeah, I think it's in our best benefit. I mean, for Dave and
Yeah,
I think
I've never seen it.
we need to be brought up to speed on what's
So
gonna be
do it
asked
as
of
a,
us.
like a work session?
Yes.
Is there a specific day that you would like to do that?
So, Commission have any?
Beginning of February or?
Early February.
I do know that Brandy will be gone somewhere in the middle of February, I think.
So generally, I don't know if you'd want to do it on the afternoon on a regular day, commission day, or if you'd rather do it on a different, completely different day.
Just for myself, it's ease of access to do it on a Monday.
That's fine. I'll do it in the afternoon.
So I'm not exactly sure which week Randy was out.
Okay.
I'm wanting to say it was the 10th through the 14th.
Randy just pulled up.
Okay.
Okay.
And that would be.
We could come back to it at the end if you'd like.
Let's do that.
And did you want to do anything with outside boards now, or did you want to wait till the?
Let's come back to that with Randy in the room.
Okay. No. Is everything okay?
Okay. Randy told me it's fine. That's Travis. And talking about the EMS real estate acquisition discussion between. Everybody should have had in their packet a letter from the city of Hillsborough.
How are you?
Good, yourself?
Good.
I'm going to jump straight to it. At the end of the last discussion, Diane had asked for a letter with the intent of the city of Hillsborough. No, that suffices.
Okay, so I guess if you're addressing me, I have read his letter,
Okay.
and honestly, I'm gonna tell you, that letter didn't tell me any more than what he didn't tell us that day that he was here. What I specifically asked for was, I wanted to know, because I keep hearing that, you wanna work with us, okay? And I don't wanna work with you. But what I'm seeing here, and what I heard, was, I don't see what the county gets out of it. You're asking us to wait 5 years on a plan that you have up here, okay? And what are we gonna get in exchange for that? To just wait, and what if something doesn't happen in those 5 years? Now, right now, we have a building that we can afford, we have a plan in place, we have employees that are entitled to and deserve a better working facility. Honestly, I think the location myself is perfectly fine. I like our plan, and so even though you told me what your thoughts are, but there is no blueprint, there is no design, there is nothing already there. Also, I'm gonna be a little evil here, what I see is you're gonna build this complex, which is good for Hillsborough, and you're hoping that the county will help pay for that by putting in EMS in that area. Now, and I don't have a problem with that if it's a nice facility, but I think by asking us to wait 5 years, that's a long request with no compensation. I was expecting you to say, hey, we'll pay all your rent that you're paying on the building for the next 5 years if you wait, or give us something, because right now it's all one-sided. Wait for us to maybe come up with a plan. Wait for us to do this, then we're gonna lose our opportunity to buy what we already have. So, I'm sorry, Mr. Payne, you fell short on my expectation, and I like the plan that Travis had presented to us in the first place, that we can afford it and we need to move on. Now, down the road, like Randy said, 5 years from now, maybe the circumstances will be different, that we will wanna participate in your facility. but we have to look for today. I don't know what tomorrow's gonna hold.
One thing to address there, you say pay the rent for 5 years, they've been paying rent-free for, I don't know how
No, I'm
many
talking
years.
about the apartment.
The apartment.
Mhm.
Apartments. I
Yeah.
was gonna say that the housing of the ambulance is.
No,
paying.
yeah, no, I knew that was free. I meant for the apartment and the expense that were put out, because I don't see in their plan where we're getting anything. We're just waiting. That's what the offer to the county is, that I see proposed by the city of Hillsborough. You get nothing, you just wait for us to maybe come up with something. And I'm sorry, I can't do that to our EMS department. It's the county EMS, and I have to address it as such. That's my position.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Ron.
Larry, was there anything else besides the letter that you presented today?
No, sir. Hey, Misty.
Well, I just want to catch up. Larry brought it over and stuff, and I read this, and I'm telling you that I've heard for quite a few years, Larry, that there is a facility, and I think what I see is Marion County's wanting to do the same thing what you're doing, except in keep a facility there and put a building up and stuff, and that's our game plan to provide for you guys. But I see in the long run, you would like to throw them all together in a facility somewhere down the road. And I understand that too, because I've been both. Been a fireman, been on the ambulance, been a police officer, so I know how teamwork is a good thing. I have no problem, and I want to promote that teamwork. And if that was the last building in Hillsborough that was not standing empty, I would, or if it was the last building standing empty, I wouldn't do this. Personally, I see 4 buildings standing over there right now of pretty good size, and I think that, I don't think that we are stealing anything or taking anything, and I still would stand by if I was sitting in this chair here 5 years from now and Hillsborough come to us and said, get on the task force, get on the game plan with us, let's take a look at it. I would hope that somebody on this position right here would sit and work with you, with the Hillsborough folks to get something accomplished at that time maybe. Right now, I think we're just trying to move forward for our own personal people, as I think I heard Diane say, and that's one of the things right now, is get them there and get us our service continuing to. I know from what I hear from the people, the public, some of the business people I talked to last week in your city, they don't want a Taj Mahal, they just want to, if you build a building, they just want a good, clean building. They don't want some of the things that they've been heard of. They don't know the plan. They wasn't at your meeting, but they've heard things that, they're wanting Taj Mahal of a police, fire, and ambulance station. And some of your good business people over there don't really want that. They just want a facility. So I think there's a lot of things that group will have to accomplish to please the public of Hillsborough and stuff too. And that's, I'm willing to work, if I was sitting here just to work together with the ambulance people so they that away. I guess if you didn't present anything else today, I guess it would be a little short in my mind. I'll second your opinion there that it's a little short in my mind from where we need to be to move ahead. So that's all I've got to say.
Say one more thing. By waiting, I don't know if everybody sees this, but by waiting the 5 years, it actually does save the county $120,000. Because your rent payments are $6,000 a year. That's $30,000 over 5 years. Versus a $150,000 building. You've got $120,000 you didn't spend. And just putting it out there, there's some numbers.
$150 is the purchase price of the building.
Right.
That doesn't include renovations.
Right, I'm just saying.
That does include it.
No. It's the purchase price is $69,000, the way I understand it.
I've never heard that.
Okay.
I was
Right.
150.
No, the 150 is in the budget.
150 is what's budgeted
But you've always said 150.
to have it done.
I assume that was purchase price.
No.
No, this,
That would
This
be,
changes the story to me.
okay, purchase price is 69.5.
And which building are we talking about?
Well, we don't wanna talk
I
about
know,
that.
yeah.
See, I,
We were
We
going to
can-
go into executive
We
session.
can certainly, I already certainly talked to you afterwards.
Well, yeah.
But,
I've heard
it's a
all
40
kinds of things.
It's a 40 by 40 building. That would be the living area, the office area. We would put a 40 by 40 garage on the back of it, a 2-bay garage. And that total comes to about 130,000, leaving us 20,000 for renovation inside the existing building for partition walls, things of that nature.
guess it'd be nice to have all the details, I guess.
Sure.
Yes, yeah, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, right.
This
I
is-
thought, I heard it was 150,000, I thought they could pay that for the building.
no, that
That's
was,
finished product.
Well, yeah, nobody said
My,
that.
my apologies.
yeah.
No?
Well, the last
Do a
information
drawing
I
on
was
a piece of
privy to
paper or
on
something?
the acquisition, this is apparently a different location, because, so, well, I mean, same area, but different building.
It comes with land also, doesn't it have so much
Yeah.
land?
And again, we started to go into this discussion and it stopped. That's where I'm at, is the discussion stopped. I've been approached by members of the commission to ask me further questions. But, again, we stopped and we waited to hear what Hillsborough strategic planning was. And simply the reason I got on the agenda today was because Mr. Payne was gonna be here. I was gonna see what he brought back. I certainly don't have, I guess, anything to add at this point. Just see where you guys are and what I need to be doing. So,
I feel like an executive session is necessary, because there's some confusion, obviously,
Yeah.
as far as what this acquisition really is. We all had something in mind. Some of us had more information than others. So I would prefer that we have
We have 10-minute executive sessions.
I would accept the motion to have an executive.
I'd make that motion. Go to executive
Could you
session.
please utilize the correct language?
Got it.
Try it. Go ahead. It's your start, buddy. You gotta learn someday.
Everybody else is easy.
Move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss, which one is it? Item number 6, for preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate pursuant to KSA 75-431 9B.
I would second that motion.
For how long and with whom?
10 minutes to resume an open session at 10:03 with the board, Travis. That's it.
I second that motion.
So he's having.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. There's lots. Lots.
Lots and lots. And even dumping dirt on that one,
Yep.
build it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Out of executive session, no action taken. I would entertain motion to pursue another course.
You'd like me to bring information back with a couple different options? Can certainly do that. Can certainly do that.
You get that motion?
I don't think a motion was made. You just, Travis said he'd be bringing back
You
information.
just directed him.
Yeah.
Guidance is all I'm after. I guess I don't know that I need a motion, but I'll certainly bring back more information. And
Definitely
different
appreciate it.
options, absolutely.
We need to do this somewhat expedited though.
Sure.
Because certain things are at play.
Right. I'll get.
Do you want any time scheduled on Friday for this?
Sure.
Or you want to just wait till Monday?
Yeah, please put, on Friday, put some time down, at least 10 minutes.
Will you have something back by then?
I can certainly do some quick work.
I don't know if we can have the whole thing back, but we can,
I think a couple of phone calls should keep people.
Yep.
yep.
Just have the professional drawings.
All right. Yeah. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Travis.
You bet.
All right, moving on. Slightly behind schedule. The Health Department, Deidre here.
How are you?
They took
Here
no
to do
action.
the quarterly.
They took no action. Travis is gonna bring back more information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually, I probably should have talked to Travis.
Okay, as you can see, I just kind of wanted to point out, you've got a little strip on your polls that talks about our immunization income. And I would just like you to note that this year, we did increase our immunization income. Last year, we had a little decrease. Well, from 2016, for 2 years, there was a decrease, but this year we did have an increase. And it's hard to say for sure what caused that increase. I know there were new immunization laws that came out for 2019-2020 school year. And so I don't know if that increased it. We have had new clients come into the health department. And also this year, as you might have heard, that the flu vaccine, we had trouble, everybody actually had trouble in getting the high dose or the dose that the seniors get. And so we did get it before some of the other providers. And so we got some newer clients that way too.
While you're talking about that, I see these numbers out here, that's gross income?
That is, yes, what is reimbursed from providers.
Okay, so out of this dollars that we spend, or that we received, what kind of cost do we have that the medicine themselves come to, that we pay for? Is there a percentage wise, is there anything?
There's, we belong to a contract, so the immunizations that we order, most of them, there is one vaccine that is not covered under that contract. So we get state prices. We get a little discount by being under that. And the contract is, we're just in, it doesn't cost us anything to belong. We just order through one, kind of like a marketplace type thing, and then different companies are in on that, and then we get the vaccine through that. Now, our state vaccine, we get free, so people who qualify for the vaccine for children, it's 18 and under, we get that free. So we bill, if they have like state insurance, and there's several different types of state insurance. There's like a Title 19 and a Title 21, and so if they have any of those insurances, we bill that company, and they only reimburse us for the administrative charge. If it's someone that comes in that has no insurance, then we can bill them $20 for the administration fee of that vaccine. That, and that doesn't mean, like, some of our vaccines are in a combination, like the DTaP, the IPV, and the HIV, or the hepatitis B. Those are 3 vaccines into one shot, and we only charge $20 for that. So it's like, in a sense, it's just a per poke or per, one vaccine comes oral. So that's kind of how we charge for that.
Okay, thank you.
And we did do a couple special clinics like we do, at back to school time, like we may have an evening clinic. But we have done that so we really haven't increased staff time to, as far as like the staffing costs, so. Looking back at the last quarter, we kind of going back a little bit further, the Marion County Fair, Erin, our Safe Kids Coordinator, went to that, and as you can see, she gave away 50 bike helmets and 180 smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. The health fair, which was in November, 232 gas, 30 vendors, 118 laps drawn, 67 carotid artery scans, 33 flu shots, 13 families signed up for smoke detector installation, which is by the local fire departments. There were 2 life support helicopters, 1 ambulance, and 1 superhero, 1 skunk, and then 1 German Shepherd. So it was considered to be pretty successful.
That's your boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering,
Trans
not
boss.
trying to call you Scott.
So, Safe Kids, getting back to that, I think Tina may have had a grant that Erin applied for.
Yeah.
And
We did it.
so,
We took care of
good, okay. We also, a couple of us, Erin and myself, are now certified technicians to install car seats. Erin called around, got donations to pay for the fee. It was $90 or $95 a person to take the class. And I just got word, I'm on the South Central Kansas Trauma Region representing health departments, and she had applied to get the rest of that reimbursement, and so it was just voted on last week that they would give us $275. So now all of that registration for the 9 individuals that took that course was paid for.
Can I ask you a question? You're saying that we have certified car seat installers?
Yes, they're certified passenger safety technicians.
Really?
Yeah, and we
can't do it.
haven't had any since Sandra. And now Clinton Jeffrey had been doing it, but he didn't recertify. So we saw the need, we were referring people to Harvey County, the person, Amber, who comes down once a month, and she would make the appointments, but we had 9 people and take that course, so now in the county we have 9. There were 2 from Hillsborough Fire Department, 1 from the PD, Hillsborough PD, 1 from Marion PD, 1 Parents as Teachers, Tristan at the extension took it, and then 1 Early Childhood Task Force person took that.
Not
So
involved by this highway patrol, right?
that was given by, it says a state trooper, but it's 3 state troopers. And we had to actually, Erin organized that class, because what they do is they designate classes around the state of Kansas, and that's preset in October for the following year. And so this was an additional course. Safe Kids of Kansas provided all the money. You probably saw we had expenses that they reimbursed us for the meals and also the snacks, and we didn't have to pay for that place. We had it in Hillsborough, in the bank basement, and they were willing to let us use that for free. So, flu vaccines, 9 flu shot clinics around 4 businesses we went to, and about 705 flu shots were given. But that was before this was publicized. We have been getting more calls for flu shots.
How many people for business? What's around?
If it's out of town, we like to have at least 10,
Oh, okay.
you know, but in town, we've gone for 4, just because we figure if we want to try and get as many different ones as possible. So if you know any businesses that would like us, have a call and we can probably make something out. There, on the back, as you've probably heard in the news, there's been, vaping has been kind of on the rise. It's been an issue with the underage and the teenagers. So Aaron, our Safe Kids person, along with Tristan, the extension, and also the FACT, they have put on 2 town hall meetings, one in Hillsborough, one in Marion. And then they've also met with some area schools for Stuco.
Very good.
And I just want to kind of make you aware, I think I did before, that April 15th through 17th, we're going to be involved in a statewide outbreak and a full-scale exercise.
Hopefully you don't need it before then.
Yeah, I know. So we have had some reports of flu. Influenza right now is not, the way it is, it's not a mandated reportable disease unless, of course, someone, an infant or a child dies.
So there's been 2. Proximity.
I'm gonna go back to what Diana asked there on car seats. It is amazing to me that what we used to do is both slap our arms out, both kids. But the younger kids, that these car seats is pretty important how they put them in. And if you haven't put one in lately, just go try it. That's all I can say.
And the best thing to do is check your vehicle manual, because the vehicle specifically says where you can place car seats, where they're hooks, if they have latches in them, and then also the car seat manufacturer. And there's many different car seats. We do recommend that you never buy a car seat at like a secondhand store or a garage sale. If it gets passed down from a family member, that's kind of, you know, a little bit of the history, but if you buy it from some other place, you really don't know the history. Has it been in a crash? Has it been tampered with? So it's a lot more involved now, because there are so many different types. You know, they recommend you have your children facing rear till 2 years old, and certain car seats are made for rear facing, certain aren't.
And then
So,
up to 5 years or 6 years, what is the?
it's up to 4.
4 years?
So
Yeah.
but they do, yeah, it's a weight, like some of the car seats out there go to 100 pounds. So,
There's a whole new world.
Oh, you got kids that are in 3rd, 4th grade that are still out.
right, in the booster, like the
Yeah.
harness, yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Joe.
Thank you.
One for me.
I used to ride car trips in the back window of the car.
I think that's where my folks put me.
Watch everybody behind us. All right, moving on to Ricky Roberts, extension agent.
He's out there. Hey, Ricky Robert.
I put a time limit on.
I'm the bailiff.
Time limit? Yeah, we want to move on to weed and HHW by 10:45.
Hi there. Guys, how are you? Hey, how are you?
That's all right.
Doing good. Morning.
Good morning.
Out today, so hot seat.
Oh, who's gonna sit here?
Okay, all right. Oh, I sit here? Okay. All right.
Yes.
You guys do that.
Good to see you.
Okay. Well, let me, I guess, start with just an introduction, if that's okay. And then we'll get started here. But Chris Onstad, the university, they have the state divided into 4 areas, and each county is assigned to an area. And Marion County is assigned to the northeast area. And our northeast area director is Chris Onstad, and so this is Chris. Chris is, how do I say, I mean, he's put together many of these districts. You wouldn't be able to come up with a question, I don't think, that he couldn't answer. So anyway, so that's.
No need to challenge.
Right, so anyway, but anyway, so that's that. Brad Van Auker, Brad's my board chair, the Marion County board chair, and so I did ask Brad to come in and I guess for nothing else to maybe show support for that. When we were here then before Christmas, well, you know Tristan, I was trying to, and of course Tristan Cope, I'm sorry, our family, that's poor, I'm sorry. I apologize to Tristan, I thought you knew her, so anyway. Before Christmas, oh, hi Becky.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, come on in. One more introduction then, I guess, if I can. Have a seat there. Actually, this is Becky Chase, and Becky is the board chair for the Extension Board Chair in Dixon County. And so, anyway, obviously, Becky, I think, I mean, we'll let her, if you have questions for her, you can ask, but I think she's probably here because she's supporting this deal. And so, okay, when I was here, that was a little bit right before Christmas. And at that point, what I tried to go through is maybe kind of how districting works and what I would call kind of an educational session. How's that? I tried to do that. If we need to go back through anything there, certainly we can do that. Okay, if you have any questions about that, well, we can go back through any of that. As I stated then, or if I didn't state that, I'll state it now. Essentially, with districting, there are 2 approval stages or pieces maybe, okay? The first approval piece is what we call an intent to form a district. And that resolution should have been in your packet, I believe, okay? That is not the end all. And I want that to be known. I'm not trying to minimize the importance of it, but I need you to know that even if you approve it, that certainly doesn't end it, okay? Actually, it is the very beginning piece, all right? And what that piece does is give us permission, so to speak, to go to work. Essentially, here's what would happen. Essentially, when this board is, if we are ready today, that would be my ideal Monday, that if you would approve that intent to form a district, essentially what would happen is at that stage, figuratively, I'm going to take that and I'm going to hand that to Becky. And at that point, Becky is going to take that to the Dixon County Commission Board. Okay? And she is going to ask them to do the same thing. If the Dixon County Commission Board would approve the same thing, at that point, we would have permission to begin work. And that's what would happen. Then it would set some things in motion, we would start to work. That does not mean that it's a done deal. Okay? One of the pieces that we would go to work on, and in my opinion is the most important component of it, is what we call the operational agreement. That's where the details are. Okay? And that would come back before this board as well for approval or to be denied. Okay? So, you know, so anyway, but the point is that we're at that point where we either going to say, yeah, you can start to work, I guess, or no, we can't. It really is what it is. Before we maybe start to that, I wanted to talk about a couple of things that did come up in that session before Christmas. I guess I'm looking at Randy. So, Randy, I'm going to pick on you for a minute, man. No.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, and here's the thing I want to say. Of course, Randy's got tenure here. And so Randy's been on this board for a long time. And with that then, I mean, we've had these discussions. What I want to do is, Randy has always had a couple of challenges with districting. And I do want to address that. One of the challenges, Randy, has been maybe, to be frank, and at one time when you told me this, I took it personal, it really bothered me. And that was, to be honest with you, Rick, is your service good enough to warrant this, all right? And I remember the first time that you raised that with me, however many years ago, to be real blunt with you, I probably took that personal, and I think that it really bothered me. I will tell you, I don't know whether we are or we aren't, Randy, but districting solves that problem. And that's the point I want to make with that. Without question, this is about enhancement of services. That's what this is about. It's about creating a better service for all of us, in my opinion. Neither one, Dixon County nor I, we are not here out of a position of desperation or something like that. We're here because we believe in the model and we believe that it's going to make all of us better. That's what I can state with certainty, okay? And so I can't answer one of those pieces for you, and districting is the way to answer that. Now, the second, your challenge with it, and I want to tie this together with something that Jonah asked me about too in the last meeting. And Jonah's question was the $22,000, okay? And what Jonah was coming from there is that it becomes a mill levy question, okay? If you look at, there's Marcia Meyer. Hi, Marcia. Marcia's one of my board members too. She just walked in. I'll introduce Marcia. Okay, thank you for Marcia. All right. What that is that, what Jonah's referring to, I believe, Jonah, is that currently to fund extension in Marion County and the difference in the mill levy that could look like with the district, okay? It increased by like 0.127 mills. You take that times the valuation rate, comes out to $22,000. And that's where I think you were coming from there, Jonah. Here's what I'm going to try to say. In my mind, the mill levy is probably on everybody's mind. And the mill levy should be on everybody's mind. I don't think there's any question about that. And how would I say this? I think Chris could speak to this. You would not be the first commission board to be worried about that, huh? And so I think that's fine. My answer to that would be, mill levies can be addressed in that operational agreement, in that you can place caps in there that, quote, ties everybody's hands to a point, okay? And so, you know, that can be addressed. Now, Randy, the truth is that districting is about trying to, to me it does two things, all right? One is that it's a better service, and two is that it becomes sustainable. You're correct. I hope we're not cutting staff. I hope we're not. We're trying to build something that we can sustain what we have and the work that we're doing, Randy. Okay? And so, you know, that's how that is. But the mill levy ought to be a concern, and that we can try to address that in the next approval piece or that operational agreement. Okay?
So, I know you addressed this before, I just want to
Yes.
pick it up. We have 2 in Marion County staff. Dickinson County has how many?
4.
So with that, you would be increasing your efficiency by
Right.
1.5 times.
Right, that is correct. I would like to think so.
Okay.
You know, the whole beauty of this, really, I want to choose my words carefully here. You know, Chris is in the room. Here's the truth. I get nervous. I'm thinking Chris is going to, like, when we get done, "Ooh, you stated that wrong." No, here's true. If I go back to that 22,000, Jonah, I need to address that in a couple of ways. But here's, for 22,000, essentially, we're going to pick up, Marion County picks up 4 more agents. That's a heck of a deal.
Chris, I
Yes,
got
sir.
a question for you.
Absolutely.
I've heard Ricky tell me, I've heard a lot of agents tell me a lot of things. I want to know how K-State feels about the future of county boards and what the future that you see coming from Topeka, and why would they want this?
Topeka?
Yeah.
Or,
Well-
I'll speak on K-State and then you can expand.
Okay, K-State, I mean, yeah, not
You bet.
Topeka.
Well, first of all, K-State is a very strong advocate for it. Both the districts because of the specialization and the increase in the capacity of the agents that we get. I have, you know, like they mentioned, I've been involved with getting a lot of districts put together, and it does a lot of things. It's kind of interesting to see because, you know, you've got a good program now, but all of a sudden when you start the specialization, you actually get a synergistic effect of programmatic aspects. You know, I'll take for one example, you know, in the county there's 2 ag agents, and right now they're kind of generalists. Well, when you go into a district, they'll probably split responsibilities. One is more than likely to focus on livestock, and so they'll have a higher capacity to bring livestock programming. The other one is probably going to capitalize on crops. And so you get a lot more in-depth programming in that capacity. And the same can be said with, you know, advancements in sciences and even 4-H to an extent. So that happens. You know, the efficiency that Ricky's kind of talking about is through the specialization, but then like right now, each county has an administrator, you know, a district or a county director. So when you go into a district, you're at least bringing that down to 1 person instead of having 2. So, you know, that's part of it. As far as local boards, you know, they're a critical part of extension. You know, they're our eyes and ears to what's happening local. They're part of the supervision process. They're part of the, you know, visiting with you guys and the relationship aspect of it. And in a district, they actually, you know, it's kind of an informal election process now. When you go into a district, they're actually put on the regular ballot. And so it's an official election, just like you guys are getting elected. So that actually, in my perception, has given them a lot more responsibility, and they come to meetings, they're responsible, because, you know, as far as taxpayers and things like that, they're invested. So they take their time, they take very seriously. I see you got some of the numbers up there.
The mill levy issue, I haven't got there yet.
There's
And,
there's
you know,
another page.
That's one of the items that I see happen is because they are taxpayers, they're very critical of the expenses and everything that actually happen. So, I've actually seen similar programs in the county that I was in before, or the state that I was in before. And it also helps on agent retention. And, you know, if we get a lot of turnover, then you don't get as much as after a few years that agents really get under their feet and they know what's going on. And, you know, retention has helped a lot because of an agent being more specialized gives them more buy-in, I guess you might say.
It's a better job. I mean, I'll be straight up with you. I have a better job.
Commissioner Becker, you have.
I mean, just the culture has changed from what we had a county agent 30 years ago doing to what your two are doing today. I mean, I can see that, and that, you know, that you go back to private business, it's the same difference, it's called a merger there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here it's called redistricting.
That's correct.
Now, you would hope that by doing that, you're gonna also gonna create some efficiencies of scale, even though our mill levy is gonna go up a little bit. You know, maybe over a certain amount of years, efficiencies would be realized that would at least be able to level out that mill levy cost.
Yeah.
Or maybe even reduce it.
In a lot of cases, it actually goes down.
That's why I mean the efficiencies.
Right.
And, you know, as the valuations go up, you know, the mill levy stays basically the same, and like I say, it comes down because your county valuation.
Because the county's doing
so
well.
that's,
Exactly.
you know, there's occasions up there where you'll see them pop up, but like I say, that mill cap is very good about doing it. When I work with a board to do that, what we try to do is come in and hit a mill that's sustainable. You know, so it's not going up and not going down and all that type of stuff, so that way, that, you know, they don't have to do you know, because if they were to raise taxes, even if it was below the cap, they still have to go through the same process that you guys do with the hearing and everything and a published vote. So, you know, nobody wants to do that, so the critical thing is come in, boom, so that way you've got the right mill. And then hopefully it goes down.
Yes, question for you is, how does your board, how many members do you have on your board, and what kind of general feelings do you have on your board?
So I'm going to be, first off, thanks everybody for taking time to listen to both sides and get a good feel of what's best for each county. I am just coming back on the board. I had to set a term out, so I actually reached out to our past chair, and we feel good about it. And I think what reassures our board is we've had some transition and we've lost an agent. You know, say 5 years ago when I was on board, we lost an agent. Who did we call to help fill that spot? We called Ricky. Hey Ricky, we need some help. You know, Ricky was good about helping with the test plot. So we've had that trial kind of with Marion County to have an agent help us. We do feel like it is the best thing, you know, that working relationship is there. We're a phone call away. We're adding a fourth agent. You know, Renee Reedy came from Marion County and is now in our district, or not in our district, in our office.
Would be in the district.
Yeah, she would be in the
She would be in the
district.
district. So
They stole an agent from us.
knowing
Yeah.
the county is there, we have a wonderful SNAP Ed program. We've got a lot of other programs going on in Dickinson County that we need help with. That not only Dickinson County needs, but I'm sure it's a need in Marion County. So I think speaking from my board, we are very much behind our agents, behind our commissioners, and want to see what the future holds. Extension in K-State is huge in Dickinson County. I am part of a class right now of women in ag about finance. I set one of 32 women that sit in that class every Wednesday night. And it's wonderful to see all these people coming together to realize what Extension has. And I think by bringing two counties together, it's just gonna boom. I truly feel that this is the right direction we need to go.
Okay, thank you.
The other piece that I'm trying to show then, and it's, like I said, it's up there. I told you I wanted to give you a mill levy history of every district that's since they've been formed, and oh, you can see that and what other districts have done with their mill levy. And that's what that is. In my opinion, you kind of see a little bit of that up and down thing, but that's you know, that I believe was in your packet, correct?
Most of them appeared to curve off.
Yeah, you're right.
They started off high and then they come down.
They're right, and I think that speaks to what Dave talked about. I mean, excuse me, not Dave, but anyway, what Kent spoke about.
So I guess, you know, if we can improve efficiency with 1.5 and pay for half a salary. That's an easier sell, I guess, than what I originally.
Okay, thank you.
So. Oh.
Can I just ask a
Public.
question? Just 2 questions to whoever.
Yeah.
The resolution to form the district, what I heard you say is if the county commissioners do it, then they take it to Dickinson County?
That's correct.
So Dickinson County isn't doing it in the same time that we're doing it?
It will happen very soon, we hope, Linda.
We are having a board meeting on Thursday, and our plan is if the vote is to pass today, we will prepare a slideshow Thursday night after a Zoom call and go to our commissioners.
So this hasn't really been presented to Dickinson County
It
yet?
has been talked about.
It has been discussed,
Has
but
been
the
discussed.
resolution isn't there yet. They wanted us to pass it first, Linda. And so, because some other things, they asked this group to pass it first, and if we do, then it will go to Abilene.
And I guess the other question I have is, once these 2 resolutions are passed, then Chris, you then are in charge, or how does that then continue to develop then?
There's actually a board that is developed. Like right now, there's an executive board that represents the 24-member council. And so there's 9 people. Brad is the chair currently. When they go into a district, there are 4 board members from each county that represent the local.
Okay.
And they are voted on, and they're the ones that are watch over, develop the budget. I assist them just like I do now,
Okay.
but it's still that partnership, just a little bit different format.
Okay.
At that point, they would create those bylaws for the district as far as.
Look at the operational agreement. I think that, here's why, then Chris will correct me where I'm wrong, but here's what would happen. If it's passed, and it's passed in Dixon County, all right, that resolution actually would get published in the papers. And we notify the public that we intend to form this district, and we'll have public meetings and give the public a chance to, if they want to protest it, they could do so, all right? But we'll begin to work with the public. I'll try and also speak to some of the local civic, like I spoke to a Kiwanis Club last week about districting. And I'll try to do some more of that then in the future, okay? And we'll start working with the public on what districting is, all right? That will get published in the paper, and there is a time frame where if the public wants to protest it, they have that right to do so, all right? While I believe that's going on, a committee of the staff and board will begin work on this operational agreement piece. I like to call that the devil's in the details, and that would be some of the details. Once that operational piece is developed, that will go back to each commission board for that approval, okay? And that operational piece becomes essentially what I would call the final approval in the process, all right? And if that operational agreement is then approved by both commission boards, at that point, then it would be forwarded on to the state attorney general, and then the district would form. Like I said, they have to form on July 1. And so if we can have all that done by July 1, I'm not sure yet, but that would be a goal if that can be done, okay?
We basically need resolutions within the next couple of weeks.
we need resolutions to happen quickly so we can get started, is what it is.
There's, of course, the resolution has to go for 60 days. And then everything else, we have to give the Attorney General up to 90 days to review everything. So there's 5 months right there, so we're kind of at the critical point for this year.
Cut right to it, I guess, then. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-04? With a resolution approving the formation of an extension district with Dickinson County.
I'd make that motion to approve resolution 2020-04.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. 5-0.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Like I said, I'm gonna give you my card, okay, and you guys can call if you can't get over Ricky or whatever, or something a little bit more complicated, we'd be more than happy to take your phone call. Now, I took it off, don't tell my doctor.
I see that.
All right.
Appreciate the questions.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, you bet, thank you. Appreciate that. And you got a copy of the resolution that you can do. Operational reviews. These are the formats. It just gives you an idea of the templates. Like you say, there's one of the things that we will do is put it on the LCAP proposal. Consideration.
Yes, they're signing the resolution right now.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. I'll get back right here.
Just need to make sure it gets back here.
This is our template.
The last one, take a look
I
at
know,
it.
okay, take a
All right, so need to jump right to Josh.
I got one more card for
I
you.
can even get it off your.
Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
I had 5 of them. I
Showed up.
Gave them all away.
Didn't scare me away last week.
So I'll just
Still my electric meter in charge. Baptism of fire.
That's right.
So you were gonna come back to us this week, talk about recycling possibilities, Fort Riley, what's going on right there?
I finally got a hold of him this morning. I tried last week several times. There's still 3 people down. They're sitting on a bunch of recycling. They're not sending out. They're not getting paid for it, so they're just kind of holding off. They're not taking much in right now either.
You said they're not taking much in.
Yeah, I think they'll take in some, but I think it's what comes in at Riley County or something, but.
How much you can take to landfill?
Took in a couple loads last week, because we've been trying to carry over and.
Yeah, right.
I
I mean, since we stopped going up to Fort Riley, has it just been that?
It's probably about a load every week.
Are you keeping track of those tons that are
Yeah,
going in
they're,
a different direction?
I think, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we are. It's in another computer. It's just, I gotta just figure out how to get to it.
That's fine. It's been brought up a few times just to know the actual cost of things. We
Yeah.
want to make sure we don't drop a value somewhere.
Yeah.
Would the commission think that, and I know Josh is getting through right in the middle of this, but not having contacts and things like that. Would the commission think we ought to make some phone calls to someplace else and see if there's any place else that the recycling could go to?
He used to go to Hutchinson with some, didn't he?
Cost.
And, yeah, cost, it was $97 a ton to hold Hutchinson.
Yeah, and then that far outweighs your tipping fee.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tipping fee is a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to look for an alternative if we're gonna do it. It has to come in less than tipping fee to make this feasible.
The haul to Hutch was $97 a ton, even if we had 18 tons on it.
It didn't matter how much we hauled down there, it was, they charged us at $97 a ton.
Oh, they charged.
They charged us.
I was thinking you was figuring the gas price, fuel price and everything.
No,
Okay.
that was
That's all
their
top.
charge,
Their
that's
tipping
what they
fee.
charged
Okay.
us.
Have you, I know that Newton has a mandatory recycling program. You know, have you had any conversation? I know it's short notice, I'm sorry.
No, I haven't had any contact with them, and I just
I don't think we want to be part of that unless we have a spotless, the way it sounds in the paper, from what I've read, it sounds like everything's spotless, everything's clean, sorted, and all of that, and we don't.
Yeah, they don't take a single string there.
Are you here for this?
Well, you be surprised at that, and my cohort in crime is supposed to be here any minute.
Okay, all right. I just had a feeling
Yeah,
that
yeah, you
she might
connect
be
me
here,
that
so
way.
that's-
You're right.
But, yeah,
I'm
oh,
gonna
there she
ask-
is,
yep,
there she
yep.
is.
Did you start with that?
Yeah, ahead of time, that's.
Do you have anything else that we can go on to? Until-
On the recycling?
on all
On the truck, I did get the truck, they're doing some updates on it, and going through, checking it out, and to get it ready for us. I just turned the receipt in this morning, so.
were you able to?
I tried talking them down, but I couldn't get them talked down on the price of it.
Is there any plans for when the other one is going into the shop?
No, we was gonna try getting this one going and get it set up, and before we sent the other one, so we're not.
Not out of the.
Correct, yes.
I didn't know if lead time getting it into a shop, if we were better off trying to schedule it a month from now, so that way you lock in your days.
So the old one's still limping down the road?
It's still going down the road. We're still, I think, I can't remember what he was doing, a gallon a week or a gallon a day. I can't remember but so it's.
The commission did give a plan here that they're gonna take the yellow one then and turn it back into, and keep it for the second truck. Is that the way I understand this?
That's the way I took it.
So we would have, you would use the yellow one to out down in the hole and back out?
Yeah, once we get we don't
Get
want
the
to do
other
it
truck.
now, once we
Right,
get the
right.
new building built.
Then if something happens, you would have the yellow truck in shape to,
Yes,
in case the
that's-
other truck goes down.
That was kind of the way I was hoping to go.
Perceived that way, just because,
Okay.
we were going more with the used option, and there's no
Yep.
guarantees with the used option,
Right.
so it allows you to save a little bit. Anything else on what, Mr. Whitaker?
No, I said we need to talk about the recycling, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Are we at that point? The counterpart?
I have questions.
You don't have anybody coming at like 11 or anything?
Oh, this was my 11 o'clock.
Okay.
She's here, yeah.
Could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Eileen Seeger,
And I'm Margaret Wilson.
Okay.
and
We are,
Randy, yeah.
we are the group.
Yeah, yeah. I just, well, of course, you know where I stand. I just think it's the right thing to do. I understand this current status of recycling is at a problem. I understand that. I guess China doesn't take it anymore, and so it's kind of ruined our markets. And I've seen some other entities like El Dorado having to, discontinue and all of that. I guess first I want to ask, which might be kind of related and not, and I apologize for not keeping up on this, is Marion County still part of the 4-county solid waste commission?
It's only 3 county now.
Okay, is it part of those 3
Yeah.
counties? Okay. And is there any recycling plan, and I have, at one time was on that, but I haven't kept up with any changes. Is there anything in that
Been to the last meeting.
that addresses recycling in the plan? No, nothing.
Not
It's
that we
all
know
just
of.
for landfill stuff?
Right.
Okay. And then I guess I'd be hard pressing you for cost figures too. I understand what you're saying with how much it costs. I understand the cost factor and that you're not even you're coming out in the hole. I understand that. How much in the hole? Is it really just, costing more than to take the, or I guess you have no place to go with it?
We have no place to
You
go
have
with
no
it right
place to
now.
go. And you have still some other places to investigate for possibilities perhaps, or not?
None that I have.
Okay. And you're saying that North Newton, and I know they've had mandatory for a long time, and you're saying they do a,
City.
okay. Both the city and North
North
Newton,
Newton.
because they're two separate entities. I
Yeah.
know North Newton's always been bigger on that even than the
Okay.
city, but both have.
The only one
Okay.
I was aware of was Newton.
Okay, and you're saying that they are, from what you've read, super clean, which makes it easier, and I know how many people I talk to who have no clue about what they're throwing in recycling, so I know that contaminates it. But are there any other possibilities? I heard you.
We're also
saying-
set up for a single stream method,
Right,
so
yeah.
to do the separation would, our costs would go through the roof.
So Newton and North Newton both do separation?
Yeah, they have separate bins.
No, I know that, because when single stream came in, which we all pushed for, that increases your participation a lot.
And it also cleans
Also
up your stream because
Yeah.
people aren't afraid to throw some things away and not have their trash rejected.
Exactly.
So,
I had a neighbor who took hers to the transfer station not long ago, and she just came back to the neighborhood just furious because there was obviously things in there that weren't recyclable, trash or, you know, things that, a chair, you know. And so when people do that, it ruins the
For
system for
everybody.
everybody, those of us that do follow the rules.
And there's also people who do wishful recycling, you know, they think, well, I don't
Start
know,
something.
yeah. But it's called wishful recycling because there are some that would hope to do good, but, you know,
usually they
Let me
cause more
catch,
problems.
let me catch you two up real quick, like,
Yeah.
are you aware of the 6 dumpsters, or is it seven different cities, how many we?
yes.
The
We
Tampa,
have Peabody,
Gossel,
Burns, Tampa,
Okay.
Florence, Center, Gossel. I think we got about total 9 to 10 bins,
9 to 10?
but 2 of them are here, and we got one that we used.
I was thinking 7 somewhere in there.
Yeah,
The
I
towns were-
realized that you
And
had
that's
that.
the first point that I'm thinking we're looking at is the cost for to have the truck go, the time and stuff, and we're short on people right now, is one of the reasons.
To
Then-
pick up those bins and dump
Yeah,
them.
pick the bins up, bring them back to
Right,
Marion,
right, I
take one
understand.
back, we take one with us and bring one back. But that's one of the first costs we're doing it for the good of the people.
Right.
And that's where we started off at.
Right.
But that total cost is, as you see, is the big goose egg
How
on return.
often is that done?
Well, there's some cities it's more, Gossel's twice a week.
Gossel's twice a week, Marion's twice a week, and the rest of them are every other week. Today I'm supposed to be running the route, which is going around picking them up, but I can't get out and do it because we're shorthanded at the transfer
And what
station.
Randy's saying is that is the first step in our expenses.
Okay, so that's your biggest cost of,
Right.
and just to get some follow-up on those dumpsters, those recycling dumpsters, when you're doing that on a schedule, are you finding that they're pretty full?
Not really.
Okay,
Gossel.
so do you
Go-
have to go out?
Gossel.
Gossel's good.
Oh, Gossel,
Yeah.
they break things down and they pack it full.
There's a
And,
mentality,
you
yeah.
know, we could pull on, and there's anywhere from 12 to 1,500 pounds worth. And we get calls from other towns saying we're full, and I go picking up, and we only got 500-600 pounds. There's a lot of room still to pack in there too.
So could you winnow down your trips if you don't have a lot to get each time? Could that help, I guess?
That's a potential, but we're still short
Yeah.
on help.
Yeah.
And we're,
Still short on
and we're
help,
still
even if
short
we
on
want
a place to
And if
go.
there's not a market, that's kind of an exercise in futility.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you first have to have a place to go.
Yeah,
Until this last year, we've had money coming back from
Right.
what helped. But
And what do you attribute that to mostly? Is it the market for it?
Well, we weren't being charged for any tipping fees, although we were paying an extra $60 basically in hauling fees. But by the truckload, you would save, so many dollars every
Okay.
time you took a trip. But
And we were being paid.
Oh,
We
yeah.
did receive payments.
But now it's $97 where?
that's to get rid of it.
Yeah, that was to
At
get
where?
rid of Hutchison.
But I thought you said they stopped, they won't take it.
No, that's
No.
Fort Riley.
Okay.
Fort
But-
Riley won't take it anymore.
Right now,
Broke down.
they've been down, they've been doing updates, they're short 3 people, the market's down, they can't get rid of stuff either right now.
So am I extrapolating from this that they are storing it somewhere?
They're storing what they can, but they're running out of space.
Are you telling me they're putting it in a landfill?
I don't know that.
I don't.
Good, that's a good thing you don't do that.
Don't ask.
Plead the fifth. Plead
That,
the
I
fifth.
didn't ask, and, that's,
Well, where are we gonna put it?
I know, I understand that, I understand that.
Tom don't want it out in his backyard.
Well, that's a good place.
Not in my backyard, we know that.
Yeah, it's windmills, I don't care about the trash.
I guess
The landfill out there.
we really have no solution right now. I don't.
and also to think about their, when they start on the building, we're losing our storage space for the recycling too, because that's part of it in that first stage.
And what was proposed earlier wasn't canceling it forever. It was just temporary postponing until something can come back to
Change,
life.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a math equation here,
Mhm.
with a math experience. We are taking stuff to a landfill, and we're paying to put stuff in a landfill. So how much, so if we discontinue recycling, is that going to, increase our transportation costs to a landfill?
We're gonna have.
Yes, it,
Increase our tipping fee.
yeah.
And the tipping fee is based on poundage, tonnage, not per trip
No, it's
necessarily.
how many tons.
It's weight.
Wait.
Yeah, so
It's
roughly,
weight.
roughly on the Fort Riley trips, you were taking, what, 12 to 14 tons?
Roughly, yes.
And 2 of those tons would pay for the extra transportation because it's a little further distance.
Yes,
But the remainder of that load would be savings.
certainly.
So now, it's all going to be expense. Because there's no place to go with it. It has to be road.
It's
It
gonna
has
be
to
expense to the landfill, or if you had a place to recycle, it's gonna be cost either
But the
way.
expense at the landfill is
Less.
way less.
Yeah.
Way less.
What are the tipping fees currently at landfill?
30.
41?
They're $37.
A ton?
Okay, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I have a really good friend who happens to be my son, who lives in Arkansas. They have no problems recycling. He puts his tub out twice a week, once a week. They take it, no trouble finding a place for it that will pay for it. Why is this area having trouble finding a place?
You said Arizona?
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
We could have a separation of, like aluminum cans. There's places that take aluminum cans, I know that for sure. There's places for scrap metal, there's places, but then again, that comes down to not a single stream.
And then you're
and there is,
sorting.
there is no market that I know of around here for plastic bottles, or
And
glass
paper,
bottles.
and paper.
Paper. I don't know of any.
Cardboard, you see, just within the last 6 months at Strong City, I talked to a truck driver that was bringing it, and he was going to Hutchison with, and if you remember, we did it too, we bailed cardboard only,
And
cardboard only for a while.
Carlson's bail their cardboard.
And so, I don't know whether, but that takes manpower, and to do that.
Machinery, sure.
And machinery, and that was, the machinery that we used was given to us if we took the bales through them at that time. So there was some sort of inside tie at that time. I'd have to go back and review exactly what we did, but I think they had some sort of tie to the tonnage that went out for the use of the machine. So that's the only thing that I've thought of as far to keep Margaret Wilson, happy to even come to, and I'm not for sure that, well, I'm just saying, because these two ladies have been here
We have
forever.
been a continual
These are our
thorn.
chairs, we all these chairs.
Like-
When this topic comes up, yeah.
Yeah, so,
There's-
that's the reason we're.
And I appreciate the brain power you've used to just sort this out.
Well, we want to do it. We want to.
Well, that's the one thing I'm gonna cling to, is that you're just saying it's not worthwhile. I understand the stumbling blocks, but it is the right thing to do. And I hope you all can concur with that. I mean, whether we can do it, whether it's feasible, practical.
Or financially,
Yeah,
financially.
yeah.
Well, it
sensible.
was a no-brainer as far as the cities go,
Yeah.
and us not collecting recycling, and the savings that we were getting taking it to Fort Riley. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it can open back up, I'm sure we
Yeah.
will jump on that, because that will save the county money.
Did Fort Riley give you any rationale in terms of future possibilities
They kinda, they're waiting like we are, they're waiting here
for a market?
for the market to come back. There was the mixed paper, the place they used to take it, they was getting charged to take it to them. So they had to find a new place to do that, and they said really the only thing is that's generating a little bit of money is the cardboard. Rest of everything is just kinda slowed way down and not really moving, so.
But they must have a mailer for themselves, huh?
Well,
That's the only way.
they must, I've never been in their facility. I'd like to go check it out, but
I'm sorry, I don't know your name, and I need to know your name.
Josh
Last name?
Hausman.
Okay. Oh, I know where you live. Okay.
You're
You're in
Well, Josh, are you telling us that you will continue to pursue this?
I will keep in contact with them, and they're supposed to let me know when things start picking back up, too. So we can
Is
start.
that your only possibility?
That's the only possibility
At
I
this
know
point?
of. That I know of. And I stepped into it, and it just kind of got dumped on me. So I'm,
As a new, it started, yeah.
yes.
Well, another thing we just talked about, and Josh mentioned, and I don't know if any of us have mentioned since 2 weeks ago, is approving the building going ahead. That at some time, just like he said, the part that's for the recycling goes down first.
The storage.
So we're out of space anyway for some time.
Oh, I see what you mean. So that's that's a current problem.
Current problem
Yes.
while construction's going on.
So
Yeah.
it would need a temporary measure to postpone for that.
Yeah, and anyway, we gotta do something here coming up.
Like, what time frame is that going to start? Or we haven't figured that out yet quite?
I don't know, I haven't talked to the engineer that's.
Springtime.
Is Marion and Hillsborough still picking up recycling that they deliver here?
Yeah.
Hillsborough does, yes, and Marion does too.
So, it's not just our bins. If we decide we can't do it for whatever, we're gonna have to have a time frame to allow the municipalities that are been hauling it
You're
here.
exactly right, can't, and then do we make the municipalities do it for a while? I mean, even continue their service on that like that,
Well, that would be their option, whether they can come up even with anything.
I can tell you, being a resident in one of the cities, I use that secondary because it keeps my trash from being so full. So it gives me 2 trash
Exactly.
pickups a week.
Exactly.
So I will continue to use it.
Thank you.
Even if I know it's going to the landfill.
I know, at least I've done what I can. That's the way I always figured it.
I wouldn't think you'd wanna have the cities quit doing it, because then people will get out of the habit.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, I think we ought to probably accept it, slide it over here, and not tell anybody.
That's true,
No,
but
no.
that don't work, because she goes down and looks.
I do.
Yeah, but
We're the police
I'm just thinking,
drivers.
we're looking at other things with money. I would think they're looking at things with money in their trash trucks too, so, I mean, I would like to maybe think about that a little bit too, to how our 2 cities that does this, that I appreciate it.
Well, what about Peabody? They started
They take
way back.
They take theirs.
The waste
They go
connections.
Waste management.
Waste management goes with
Okay.
it, everything.
And where's that location? In which shop?
Well,
No.
But in the,
yeah.
So you think they're paying $94 a ton?
They're picking it up themselves, so they're not charging it, because
It
isn't it
goes-
going
But
to their
but the
facility?
tipping fee though for it is how much? I mean,
They're getting paid by us people that live there. We're paying
That's-
extra for pickups,
Okay.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you
they're
get
taking.
individually billed every quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's
Oh, really?
mandatory that you
Yeah,
pay, but
yeah.
it's not mandatory to do it.
So they pay for a disposal fee, and then they pay for a trash service. which-
yeah, that's 2 separate things. A lot of people don't understand that. Well, the tipping and the pickup is different.
Yeah, I hate to see it, because when the single string come along, it's been a great thing.
I know.
And everybody likes it, it's,
Got people trained now.
Yeah.
yeah, but
I think
you know,
discussion with the cities is probably left up to the city's discretion. I mean, whether they want to go to a
Well, they just
single.
gotta notify them of
Oh, yeah, yeah.
what we're in.
Oh, yeah.
Well, your backs are kind of against the wall if the transfer station is gonna be out of
Yeah.
commission, so.
But if the city continue to run a trash pickup and a recycle pickup, that's their choice. I mean, that's really not up to us.
Right, but I'm just making them aware.
Making them aware of it,
Making them aware of what's coming up.
Has anybody checked with Waste Connections to see if they would come up this last year? If they come up north, I mean, to take a trash,
Right.
I would think.
They still do have routes in the county?
Yeah.
Waste
Yeah.
Connections or Waste Management? Is
Waste
that-
Waste Connections.
Waste Connections.
They come up 20 miles north of
I
us.
wondered, because they wouldn't come out my way for years, nobody would, so.
Well, I had that problem too, but they do now.
But I
Well-
don't need it.
I still think it's open-ended until we can come up with a solution. I think it's a time with us being too short, them being three short, us not having a secondary measure in place. We need to do something. And whether that is postponing it temporarily and bring it back up a month from now, or 2 months from now, or.
Well, 2 months from now, the
Right.
building ain't gonna be built in 2
No.
months. So I think if you shut it down now, you're looking at 5 to 6 months anyway before it would come back to,
Or more,
or more.
might be a year.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Before the building is completed, to
But
accommodate
then
it.
you still have to have a
Market,
place to
yeah.
take it.
That still have to have a place to take it, yes.
What if a temporary solution was to come along, like the Waste Connections or something like that?
I think we deal with it if it does. I mean, if there's a possibility, what?
Well, if you could at least maybe word it or think of it in such a way as it wasn't a finalization thing, but, you know, that it would be kind of an option, an open-ended possibility.
More accepted and
I think
understood.
anything that we would do from the recycling standpoint would have to be temporary. And we all want recycling, but we've got to do what we have to do.
Yeah, we understand that.
That's a good point. And I'm just thinking of, you were saying that there is a market, or somebody said there was a market for like soda cans and aluminum.
Aluminum
Yeah.
cans.
Maybe if we kind of said we're gonna discontinue it for all but that might make it easier to swallow. But
Okay,
if
we
there's.
gotta have a place for the stuff.
This is true.
And that's
And
where we're
that's
leaving.
true.
I mean, it's
Even-
coming,
You
not
can't,
only.
you can't have anything else in it because we don't have the manpower to sort it out if they start
Yeah,
throwing other
you
stuff
don't
in.
have the access to the sorting machine in Hutch.
Yeah.
So I think like in Hillsborough, you can take your aluminum cans to, I believe it's
By the
the
police
Legion.
station.
The
Yeah, there's a
Legion, I
lot of
think.
places you can take a
But
look.
they will actually take them in and cash them in for
And here we have
benefits for the Legion.
a building down by the water plant or something.
Is that the Girl Scouts?
The Girl Scouts, and they make good money on soda
And
cans.
I think the Legion here does it too.
I think you're right.
I see bags of, you know, aluminum
So I mean,
cans.
there are other alternatives.
Yeah, and that might make it a little easier to tolerate if we knew it wasn't gonna be forever.
But there's gonna be some that just.
But we're depending on you.
Yeah, oh yeah, we all wanna
Yeah.
do the recycling, I think. so.
No pressure. Yes, pressure.
But if you're saying these organizations will take them, the individual needs to
Has to get them
get
there.
it,
It has to be.
not bring it to
yeah,
us and
yeah.
then say,
No,
hey, get
no,
this
no,
to the
no,
Legion or
no.
whatever.
My
Yeah.
husband is the one that transfers the Girl Scout cans.
So, I
To a
mean, there's an
guy.
educational
Yeah.
step in there.
Well, shoot.
Well, and they're also. I know this isn't part of the recycling thing, but you know, I think really the day is coming, it's starting to happen, where single-use plastic is banned. Plastic bags are banned. I mean, of course, Kansas in the center usually is the very last. It starts on the coast, and so we'll probably be, you know, pretty archaic in doing that. But the day is going to come when we're going to have to do, and that's of course not on the recycling end.
Well, it actually is, because if we throw everything away, we're gonna run out of places to build
Well-
houses, because there's gonna be landfills all over.
Yeah, single-use
Farm ground,
plastic
yeah.
is really a bad thing, and of course, if we could educate, and I'm so glad to see all of you using reusable and aluminum
Yes,
glasses
yes,
and
yes,
cups,
yes.
because those plastic
that.
bottles of water are bad too.
All right,
Okay.
we're gonna have to jump past the recycling. We've gotta do something. Whether that's a table for a moment or a full-on postponement on recycling until a temporary date, or
What is the first Friday? Once they break ground down there, it won't be long before that area be gone.
Right, right.
I mean,
Within 30 days, it's 30 to 60 days.
I mean, we need to do something prior to that.
Yeah.
and
Sure.
we also need to collect all the bins so that they're not just getting
Yeah.
Oh.
ruined, sitting out there.
Yeah, I think they
Or
like to set.
overflowing.
I'm sure people would still use them at the beginning of
Yeah, they would. Yeah, for trash and
Have you got
everything.
something to say, Tina?
Randy asked what date the first is, that's Saturday. The Saturday is the first, and then the other thing is, if you're gonna pick up the bins, whatever action you take, we do need to notify all the cities to let
Right.
them know that we're suspending it.
2 weeks.
I think we need a couple of weeks
2
anyway.
weeks notice.
I would think so, I mean, I think that,
Yeah.
You don't wanna just surprise them
Otherwise, they're
like-
gonna be calling saying, where's our bin?
Big pile of trash up the spot.
We're looking-
bin was.
So
Is it gonna
we
be gone,
look
Randy?
at mid-February.
Oh, I got a new phone, I can't find it.
That's the 10th.
The 10th?
Yeah.
That's good. I would make a motion then that we retract all the outside bins for the time being, clear to, and be pulled off after February 10th, or by the February 10th. No, after February 10th. Let's do it that way so everybody will know that after February 10th, it will be pulled.
So do we want to continue to collect at the transfer station until we start construction?
I took care of the bins, you take care of that.
We have a
If
motion.
I knew exactly what date they were gonna start.
We have a motion on the table to retract all the bins by February 10th,
after February.
after February
You wanna
10th.
say something?
I'll second it.
There is a pre-construction meeting coming up, so I will be able to find out when and how soon they're gonna start on the building too. So I can bring that back to,
Yeah, we got it, don't matter if we have a better date.
When's the
You
meeting?
want to answer to that?
This
On the
week.
bins?
Well, that's
No,
nice.
not on the bins.
The bins. That's what I'm saying, we're taking a separate motion just
No,
on the
we
bins
just
here.
we need to notify the communities.
Can't have a second.
Mhm.
As far as pulling the bins back,
Yeah.
after the 10th,
Yeah.
any
Notify the
other,
community, notify the community.
any other discussion on the bins?
Are we gonna put signage up, explain why we're doing it or what we're doing? And no dumping here,
Are you gonna put the signs on?
posts in the ground.
Put them on the bins.
Well, the bins are,
They'll be there for a while. There could be a notice put on the bin saying, hey, coming February 10th.
Oh, yeah.
They would be no longer available until things change.
Because a lot of people don't read the paper.
there. That's true.
So we need to amend the motion.
Is there any sign person in Marion, Dave?
I don't know.
Actual signs? Nobody?
I think it's more important to
He makes
notify the
it-
community.
He makes it.
Yeah.
I have an idea about that. All of the utility people, the people in Marion who pay city utilities get a, in the billing, there is a little newsletter.
monthly newsletter.
Yes, that would be a good place to start. Some people don't read those, but that would be a good place to inform everybody.
In Marion.
Yeah, in Marion who receives a utility bill.
I think we should be.
But that's up to the city.
I don't think we should be.
When I send that out-
Recycle it on.
What? Publish it in the paper.
I mean, they don't care about the bins up in Tampa.
well, when I send out the notices to all the city clerks, I can suggest that they include information in their utility billings that they send to their residents to inform them of the change. We can put it on our website, we can put it on our social media
But that's
site.
gonna happen,
So
In the next 2 days.
is February 10th too quick then?
yeah.
Well, we
For
can
the
still
17th.
notify them, but,
Yeah.
I mean, that the bins are being pulled, even if they get the notice. I mean, the communities That may not correspond with their billing cycles,
I
to
like
be
your
able to
idea,
get that
Dan,
out.
just put this post there, and after we pull the bin, says no more recycling, no more dumping here at this spot until further notice.
We
But
will
do we have,
return.
do we have authority to put a sign up on the city lot,
Yeah, yeah, right.
on a
County lot
post?
down at Peabody, but we could do it there, but there's other places may not be,
Right.
may not be acceptable to that.
I think notices to the proper entities in the cities, notifying them, I don't know, is that gonna take some, will we need also an ad in the paper or something?
That'd be good too.
So we need to rework this motion.
No, it's just that, just a notification. Just put an ad.
Yeah, but I mean, your motion is to pull the bins, but after the 10th.
February 10th, yeah.
And put notices in the paper and through the utilities, through the clerks.
Well, I think that the motion was only actually to pull the bins. The discussion afterward was about the notification.
Should move it to March 1st, maybe.
Well, we just need to act on pulling the bins, we already got that on the table.
Okay. So there's no other discussion about pulling the bins? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Now, a motion to how to address the public about pulling the bins.
Well, I don't know if we need a motion for that. I mean, you both
Just give
discussed
direction,
and
yeah.
we'll, yeah.
I'd say notifications to the city clerks.
Newspapers.
And an ad in the paper.
Is there anything else that you see, Josh, from your end down there that we need to notify? I mean, you're gonna have to figure out a system down there too that, you know, I mean, just, I hate to tell Margaret this, but it's gonna go from the right side to the left side while you're working.
It is
Yes.
for now.
And can you locate them to where people can't get to them to start dumping stuff?
I
It's only,
I was gonna talk to Bryce and see if we can't, I was gonna bolt the arms down so nobody can get them open, and see if there's a place at the south shop I can store them out of the way, kinda get them out of view of everybody.
Okay.
so my question is this is suspending all, I mean, because all you've said is pulling the bins. So the question I have is, when we're sending out these notifications, is the transfer station still accepting recycling at this time?
But it's going
Or
from,
not?
going from the right to the left. I mean, it's just a matter of time. When that building starts down, they can't take.
Right, so are you, as part of this and this notification that we're
Right,
sending
the
out,
February
are you
10th.
going to do,
Okay.
are you suspending the program?
Suspending the,
We will be,
Right.
we will be at a certain point, but what Tina's saying, should we just get it done?
Well,
Yeah.
what
Yes.
I'm just asking for
Yes.
clarification, because the
Sure.
people will have questions, well, can we take it somewhere?
Right.
And then also, if you're planning to suspend it, then that would be a whole nother notification process again, so you may be
Do it all at
efficient
once.
by,
How about our
I
county
think all at
clerk
once is
give us
gonna be painful, but it could be
suggestion?
worse if
Oh.
not.
at the next meeting?
I think she's busy enough. with
Yeah.
her
I'm sorry,
own.
I didn't hear what
I
you
think she's
said.
busy enough with her own job.
I think the notifications need to go out to the communities that the bins will be pulled from for now. And then we'll leave curbside go
We'll have to
for,
determine a date on the other,
we'll
at the transfer station.
make a determination on curbside.
I would love to request that when you word anything to the public, that you don't, if you could word it such that, you know, how we are forced to do this, is, you know.
Because of these circumstances.
Yes, and that it's not
We hope
a
it'll be
like
temporary,
forever
yeah.
thing, if there's some way to just word it so has a bit of a possibility in the future.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know those possibilities yet, but
We sure
surely,
have hope.
yeah, we have hope.
May I ask, when the city takes 2 trips, that costs the city.
Yes.
So should the cities, I agree with Mr. Dalkey, why would not the cities need to know that so that they're not making those trips thinking that it's going to recyclable when you're all dumping it? Unless you can't put it all on one trip.
I think that's what we're saying. We are notifying the cities, and then each city that is picking up right now can make their own decision of whether they're gonna continue to do that or not in the meantime.
But knowing that it's all going in one pile. Yeah.
That's very deceivable if you take it away
Yes.
from people or take it as being recycled, and they say, well, it's going to recycle, and
Right, we need to.
30 days later, you find out, oh, it's going to the landfill.
Yeah, I feel like when we do the notifications, they need to know that, you know, for right now, it's okay to still bring it to the transfer station, but at this time, it's
Yeah.
not going into a recycling
Right.
stream, it's going into the landfill.
Right.
And until,
Because
I mean,
of
I feel like that's important to.
Unfortunate circumstances.
Right.
I agree with Tina on that. Just say it.
Yeah, get it over with. Okay.
Band-Aid
The
off.
facts are the facts. I mean, we're in a bind, so. Not that we want to do it. Okay. Anything else on weed, HHW?
Not right.
You said you got a pre-construction meeting.
Yes, pre-construction meeting, be this Friday.
Okay.
I'm with them, so.
You know what time it is? Because normally the chairman or someone from the commission,
I thought that the pre-construction meeting was going to be set after we did the notice to proceed, which I think will be February 3rd. So I thought it was gonna be after February 3rd.
They just called me and said they wanted to do a pre-construction meeting with, you know, they just needed one representative from the county. So-
I can get in touch with the engineer and make sure they understand that there needs to be a commissioner and
Okay.
that they need to be communicating that.
It may just be a
Is there a-
informal, nonchalant, this is how
Yeah,
we do business.
it may be, and, you know, I just got notified, I'm not 100% what's going on, so.
So would the board like to designate who they would want to be the representative on that moving forward? It has been Randy, is that?
I would like, if I get to continue, I'd like to have the chairman there with me, if I get to continue. I think there's 2 people, we got 5 people.
designate two.
Designate 2.
I'll make a motion to designate Randy and Jonas representatives from the commission for construction meetings on the transfer station.
Is that a
Second
We got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Do we know if the construction meetings are monthly or if they're going to be weekly?
I think this was just pre-construction.
This is just
I know.
pre-construction, but
I think they're
The motion
usually
was
just
for
kinda
construction
asking.
meetings, so I was trying to, so I can iron out, because a
Go all the way
lot of
through.
times it's weekly.
Pre and construction.
Okay,
meetings.
here you go.
So,
Any construction meeting, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
I'd like
that
to-
way, at least one of you could be there, if not both.
Okay. Follow that one. It's gonna be a little tight to make
Exactly.
every one of them. So,
Clear as mud.
it's clear. And a second by Dave. All those in favor? Aye. 5.
Okay. And then if there are any decisions that the board needs to make,
Yes.
those are typically brought back.
Yes.
So.
Okay. That,
Tina, can I ask you a question? Can you tell me where we stand as far as applications on the director position for the transfer station at this time?
I can see if we have any new ones. I think you've all seen all of the ones that we had. So I can.
good, how are you?
I can check.
You get that back on our system.
you got anything else, Josh?
that's it.
Okay. Move on. Thank you for your time. Sorry for putting you through the whirlwind.
Oh, that's, somebody's gotta do it, so.
Well, I'm glad you stepped up.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a good
I
man.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next item, right on time. Commission road proposals.
Okay, and that's me. I asked for that on the agenda. And so I worked pretty hard on this, took a lot of time on this week, and I got a lot of information for you guys, okay? Because I want everybody to be on the same page, okay? So I went and burned my printer up, and,
It won't take long to do that.
Yeah. How much
at
ink?
this rate, it sure won't.
How many ink cartridges do you have to buy?
If you have laser jet. But they are expensive to replace. So So the reason I've been working on this is the roads and the situation that we're in, and I think I want to sit here because I don't want to be looking sideways.
No.
And be kind of screwy that way. But anyway, the reason I did all this is because it was, he said, she said, a lot of misinformation, some of us are getting some of it, and some of us aren't getting all of it. So I'm giving you the information that I have, okay? And the reason I'm doing this is because of course, our roads have been the big topic of discussion for a long time. And we do have, whether we want to admit it or not, we have a very large problem with our roads, and that problem goes to different entities, different portions. It's not just one thing. So, and I will say, everybody knows the ambulance got stuck twice. Shame on us. School bus got stuck last week. Bad deal. We have a lot of these things. We have people paying taxes under protest because of their roads, affecting our budgets and income and so on. Facebook is exploding with all kinds of negative comments about the county and these roads. So I went, and the first thing that I gave everybody, some of you already have this, was I did give you another copy of Norm Bauer's road report that he made last year or the year prior, that he came out and actually toured our road, and most everybody knows that Norm Bowers is the state engineer. And he came out, and the one thing that I want to point out on this is a lot of information in here, which is really awesome. He did a fabulous job. But the one thing I did put a little orange tabby on there for you, and that's where he did make a statement in his report that the rock supply, Harshman at Florence, is the major quarry in the county, and this quarry utilizes the Florence limestone member, which is the softest mined, some of the softest mined limestone in Kansas. So, and I want to say one thing right off the bat. This is nothing personal. I'm looking at this as the county business. This is business. And I have good news towards the end, okay? But I'm just kind of reiterating this. Now, here's the next thing.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this something that Bryce should be involved in?
Not necessarily, no. The buck stops with us. This is everything that Bryce already knows, okay? And what I'm proposing is something for the commission to do, okay? So, the next thing I gave to you is copies of the emails here last week that Bryce had said. I contacted these counties and nobody has a problem with this rock. Well, I asked him for a copy of the email. I said, wow, because I talked to these people too, and I'm getting a different story. That's why, and like I said, I'm trying to get us all on the same page. So it's interesting here on Celine, when he's brought forth, and this is not a slam, I'm just reading what the email said, okay? And I know when you give these presentations, sometimes you try to hurry through and just bring out some key points maybe. But like Saline County sent an email to Bryce, and it said that, you know, they do get the AB3 and it does meet the specification, but it said, make sure you have, it says, have them submit a quality report of the materials they are providing. And there's also specifying that they say the wear should not exceed 55, but I do have a document in there from the state that shows it should not exceed 45, so that might have just been a typo, but I'm just saying. Then the next one is Rice County, which just struck me really interesting, is because they say that they are satisfied with the product that they get, that it is softer limestone, and they mix it 50-50 with concrete. So that I thought was interesting. Also in Chase County, they say the same thing, that they use it very good, but they use it mostly for, or a lot of it, for the riprap, shot rock, and the screenings are very good. And it goes on to say, where I start to be less satisfied is with the different types of grades of road rock. But I just provided these emails to you because Bryce had them, and I asked him for them. I had the opportunity to read them in detail, and I thought it would be wise for you all to read the whole thing yourself. Not only what we were told and what we were not told. And then, of course, I included one other email, and that is from Shad Lohman, and he is from KDOT in Salina. And he, of course, gives his report of the same rock. And he does attach a picture to show us what the harder of the limestone might look like. So I provided that for you all as well. But he also says that they have looked at the past quality testing back many years, and the material seems consistent enough that taking more test samples or another test sample would probably only show what we already know. Then the next thing I showed you is what I told you is this is the document that shows you what the test results should be, and it does tell you.
You're on
that,
aggregates now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, and it does tell you that your soundness, which is your freeze thaw, is, should be a minimum of 25. And your wear should be a maximum of 45. So I don't know where that doesn't come from, but that's okay. Now, the next thing that I provided for you is the latest and the greatest. These are the new tests. If you remember when Mr. Harshman was here, he said they had a lot of tests that were, pending. They didn't get the results back. We now have the results. And there were 17 tests presented from that quarry. And out of that 17 tests, 11 of them failed flat. 3 of them passed, or 3 of them were simply tested only for riprap. But that's because they also failed to test for road rock. Out of the 17, 3 of them did pass. And the 3 that passed, 1 of them passed by basically just being right on the low level of 0.85, but it passed. And then there are 2 of them that are relatively good. One's a 91 on the soundness, and one is a 90 on the soundness. And of course the wear is fine too. So out of all those tests, there is actually 3 that are good. The question that I have, and the interesting thing that I find about that too that we have to pay attention to, is all 17 tests that were taken. And this test, by the way, was taken on December 24th, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was December 24th, and the results came back on the 24th of January of this year, 20. They're all taken from the same ledge. Now I imagine, the same lease and the same ledge. They're all the Towanda, they're all the Fort Riley, or a combination of both, every one of them. So I guess there's different areas out of that same ledge or same lease or something, but it's those, every test, if you look at the ledge, it tells you it is the Towanda or the Fort Riley, and then they do have a combination.
Is it off the Robinson lease? Is that where we're at?
Some of them, well, the very first one that I think I have on the top, I showed you the 3 good test
Yeah,
results.
yeah,
it's one on the ledge.
And that right there is, that just says location, Florence Rock.
Okay.
It says
But it
ledge.
says the ledge is the Towanda.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next one is the Towanda, the Fort Riley, and then the next one is the Fort Riley, and then the Towanda. Okay, so I just find that to be interesting, and so my question there is, with all the rock, and I also wanted to bring out, and again, I fully understand, there's a really good place for this type of rock. There's a good place for it that it can be used for a lot of things. My contention is not on our roads at this time. And so the next thing that I provided for you was, this is the man, Mr. Rick Brzezinski up in Topeka, is the one who sent this to me. I sent with you the email that he sent me, along with the copies of that. He also did tell me the different symbols that are up in the fields, so that we know what they were tested for, whether it was riprap or official quality for the roads on that particular email. I also provided you pages right here, some of the stuff that's going on in Facebook. I printed off 8 pages of Facebook chatter back and forth about our roads. And I just thought this was interesting, and this is just one person's Facebook page. I wasn't gonna print off others, and I probably don't even know most of them anyway. But I find a lot of this is just not good for the county. But you can't dispute what it says. I mean, people are just literally fed up and have been for a long time. So then to the good news. So I was always thought and always brought up that you don't complain and whine unless you have a solution. So I do have a solution. I've learned that there's more quarries out there and within reachable distance too. The one that I'm going to refer to today is Nelson Quarry. I don't know who all is familiar with Nelson Quarry or not, but the very first page that you have right there that says Kansas, that is their test results. And they are awesome. Their soundness test is 99. Can't get too much better than that. Their wear is perfect, 37. The beauty about this particular quarry that I'm referring to, not only do they have really quality rock, but in talking to those people, now they have several quarries, one at Gas City, one at Waverly, one at Lego, one at Toronto, and I think they have another one somewhere. But having said that, they will actually grind the rock to our specifications. They'll put cement in it if we want it, along with it. But their rock is hard rock. They sell all their rock, most of all their rock goes to the state, and that's what the rock they use to underneath all of our highways and byways and stuff from the state for their base, because it is such a good quality soundness rock. My thing, I know that probably rises in everybody's mind is, oh my God, that's so far away to drive, but it's not. You figure we're going to Waverly right now. From Florence, Waverly is 82 miles. That's what we're driving right now, 82 miles. And that's just to Florence. I'm sorry, from Florence to Waverly is 82 miles. So if you were to go to the Toronto location, you would actually have to go another 10, 15 miles to get to that. And I think it's a little bit further south.
It's down by El Dorado, isn't it?
You know, it's pretty
Southeast.
Yeah, southeast. It's another 10 miles or so from the Waverly. Now, I will also say at this point in time, the Nebo plant, which is only 67 miles away, is not in operation at this time. But they will, if we want to go ahead and they do bids. And of course, we're too late for the year 2020 to put in a bid. But what they do is, if we say, and I don't know how many tons it is, but let's just say, we're gonna say 50,000 tons of rock, okay? They will go ahead and cut that rock and pile that rock on piles, and it will be the Marion County rock pile, period. That's it. Our rock will always be the same. It will be cut to our specifications. If we want cement in it, if we don't, if we want to add to it, we can. If we don't, that's fine. And of course, they go through all that with us. That rock costs $6.60 a ton. So not only are we cutting the price of our rock down by over 50%, we're getting a by far better quality rock. Also at Toronto, they have the rock. Now they have different types of rock, and I do not get we can buy, actually I know the commission here had just been discussing, not too long ago, we have been discussing buying some of this rock and stuff like this from the highway out here, 70 and different things like that, that we could take that cement and crush it, and then we had pricing that we had, how much would it cost us to get it ground up and all that type of stuff. They actually have just cement that they'll grind up for us if we want to buy just some cement, and they'll grind it up for whatever size that we want. And I do have an email here that they sent me, and I'm trying to find it, I can't find it right now, but I will provide that to you. I'm thinking that the cement was something like, if we want ground up cement, I think it was something like $8 and something like that a ton, ground up. All we do is go pick it up. Don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, it's
So
got
I'll
all the metal and everything.
No metal in it, no.
Yeah, it's removed, is what he's.
Yeah, it's removed, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you asked if it had it in it.
Well, I'm just asking if they removed metal or they just crushed it.
No. So, anyway, I will provide that information to you. Like I said, I just seen while we were having the meeting that they finally sent that information to me. I didn't have it earlier. But I also provided for you there then some invoices on the rock that we're buying, and the good rock that we're buying, or I say the better rock that we're buying from Coffee County, which is the Waverly rock. We're now paying $15.39 a ton. So you can see the price difference. Even if we were to pay the $8 or whatever from Toronto, or we get a combination of cement, whatever, the price is still, I'm gonna say right at 50% less, which would justify making that little extra run. I got two invoices there that I have provided for you, and I just took two, and I have a huge stack because we buy an enormous amount of rock, as you all know. But just on this one invoice that I have, that I provided to you, the total cost on that particular invoice is $4,809 just for the rock. If we would have bought it at Toronto or Gas City or someplace like that, it would have cost us $2,062. So you can see the substantial saving. And of course, the other invoice is the same way. It cut the price of that invoice in half. So then the next thing to say, but the cost of the trucking. Here's another problem that I found that I would like the commission to consider. And I'm saying, I think what we need to do is we need to put out bids for trucking. What I have got right here is I do have a couple of the trucking invoices that I provided for you. And again, they're all the same pretty much. I just grabbed 2 or 3 of them to provide for you. Currently, on the long hauls, like to Waverly, we're paying somewhere in the neighborhood, right at $5.20. I'm pretty close to the penny. $5.20 per loaded mile of the material, bring it back here to us. Most of your truckers, the average going price right now is about $4 a loaded ton. So that is a savings right there of $1.20 a loaded ton. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking a load of $27 a ton on a truck, it really adds up. So I'm going to also say on this particular trucking bill that I provided for you, and I just grabbed it at random again, there are 29 loads that we hauled from Coffeyville, from Waverly. Now this right here at the top of this
Coffee County,
invoice,
is that Coffeyville?
Coffee County, I'm sorry, you're right.
That'd be
yeah.
Waverly, wouldn't it?
Waverly,
Yeah.
that is correct, yes. So this particular one, that rock was not delivered to Florence, it actually went to 210 West Bison, which I think is out close to the county line by Gossel or between Hillsborough, someplace out in that area. It's out pretty far west. That's about 115 miles. So I wanted to make sure I was comparing apples to apples. So using that mile, instead of saying 82, I did use where the invoice actually said. So on that particular one right now, at the $5.20 per loaded mile, if we would have went with a $4 per loaded mile, we would have saved on that invoice $3,983. But what that means is for every 4 loads of rock that we paid hauling at that $5.25 rate, we would have got the next one free for the same money. So, and my calculations are right there, the yellow paper, you can go back and check them, and we have enough truckers in this county that will be happy to calculate this for you. I did have 4 of them work on this with me, so these are really not my numbers, it's theirs, and they all agree, but anyway, just on what they would charge. So what I'm saying right there is, we can literally, if you take this abundance of rock that we're buying and save all this money on hauling, we can almost cut, and this sounds almost too good to be true, but it's close. We can cut our rock budget almost in half. Now, we just spent this last year, and I don't know the number, $1 million or something like that. Yeah.
It was over that. I mean, it was 1.6 something.
Right, okay, I don't want to exaggerate, so I don't want to say, but I know it was.
Over $1 million.
It was
Almost $1
huge.
million over is what I'm thinking.
It was huge. So what I'm saying is these numbers right here really paint a different picture to me as a county, what we need to really look at. I really think we need to put our trucking out for bid, and I don't think we should pay any more than what the farmers are paying and what the ranchers are paying. I think, and I have talked to several of the truckers. I think I also did provide one trucker has his own truck. He provided a letter, I attached it here to you, that he is willing to haul it. He says for $4 a load, loaded mile. I do have several others that I got text messages from, names and numbers of who are willing to also do the same thing. But I'm not trying to undercut anybody. I would like to give everybody a fair chance. But I think we should set the standard that we're not going to pay any more for hauling a rock than anybody else does. Why should the county have to pay these higher prices? And even though I say $5.20 a loaded ton, that is for the long hauls. The invoices that we have where we are paying, just in the county, we're literally paying $15 a mile. I mean, now you talk about substantial amount of money there. We are paying $418 to go 19 miles. What is wrong with that picture? But we can negotiate these, we can get these done. I know when diesel was really high, then that would have been maybe justified. But in today's world, it's not. And that's why I'm bringing it to the commission, because I think that recognizing these things, and I put all these invoices up there for you, I think we really need to take this a lot more seriously than what we have, because our roads are really bad, and it's really sad, and we can do something about it. We have resources that we can step up to the plate as a commission, say the buck stops here, and we can start doing something different. I don't know about you guys, but I know my phone is getting burned up with all the calls that I'm getting. And I drove several roads this weekend. You gotta come out and look at this, Diane. You gotta come out and look, and it is, I got it. And just living in rural America, I don't wanna hear nothing about people need to stay at home. I don't even wanna hear it. Lord knows I heard enough of that. We need to do something about this. These are taxpayers and they need a decent road. And like I said, we can do something to make it better. And that's why I provided you the information. And I know, Joni, you said we need to do a work session. I totally agree. My disagreement with that is I don't know that we should wait or that we can wait until the end of March. I really don't. We can start buying rock, we can start trucking, we can start cutting our expenses in half tomorrow. And that's what I wanted to bring before the commission.
Can I ask you a question? Are those semi-truckloads, or are they trucks like
They're,
we have
they're
here?
end ducts, they're end dumps.
So are they gonna carry more too?
Well,
26 tons.
Than what we can
well,
carry
oh
too,
yeah,
right?
more than the county, absolutely, yeah, the one
And so
proposal.
that's even a savings too.
Yes, that's right, that is, I'm sorry, I didn't bring that up, that's right, the one that gave a proposal, I think he said he can carry, which I didn't say this right up front. because I-
26 tons is what he's got there, the one you've got, Diane.
26 tons, yeah. And I noticed the other ones were 23, 25, and I didn't know if that was a difference in the truck
Could be.
or what it was, so I didn't elaborate on that
Some
because I
guys
didn't
have
have the
bottom dumps
answer.
and some have end dumps.
Difference in the
Some
weight.
of the trailers are heavy,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
trailers are heavier.
Right, right.
Trailer's too heavy, you can't haul the load.
But when you get into these numbers, the savings are just staggering, and why are we not doing this? So, that's what I wanted to say, and that's what I brought before the commission, and now you have the same information that I have. And I would ask the commission to, let's start acting on this and acting more financially responsible and taking care of our people is all I'm asking.
So would we then start a program of stockpiling on our own property or different properties in the county, depending on, you know, if we need northwest, we've got a spot we can dump.
I looked at the Tampa area just because it was sunny and that's where I was. We can stockpile a lot of rock right there. I know Pilsen has an area, and I know there's areas down south, but I don't know what they look like.
Is there any potential that we can have them?
Spread it.
Yeah.
If they were, if
Yeah,
they were.
That's
if they
what
were
they're
on.
doing now a lot of the time, and that's one thing I was questioning is whether there's difference in price for just hauling to a single location versus actually going out
Spreading.
and spreading it over the road.
No.
That may be a difference.
It's still
in
the
what
mileage.
they're paying.
Because I asked the guy about dumping, and he said he can do that, and it's still the mileage or the loaded ton price.
Right.
Whether he just dumps it on a pile or runs down the road with it doesn't affect the price. No, so the
The way
answer to
I
the question is
understand on some of
no.
these trucks is some of the shorter ones end dumps can go down the road and dump.
Mhm.
But the longer the trailer, then it gets higher and it gets more dangerous to, well, it falls. So when you ask about the truck size, I think that's part of it. Could be something too, the size of the load, why you won't do that, but.
But that would be on them if we contract with haulers. That would, if they upset their truck,
Well,
on them.
yeah, if we contract that away, but what Jonah was mentioning, the stockpile, but then
Oh.
you've got the belly dumps, I mean, and that's, they use that quite a bit, but that would still have to be, conjunction with our grader blader, just in case
Yeah.
there's a pile
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah, I mean, it sticks and
Yeah.
jerks and then you got a pile and, yeah.
And I know
I've
somebody
dumped a lot of
brought
big
up,
trucks, I know.
somebody brought up this, they said, well, I'm worried that some people come and steal our rock and all that stuff. And I talked to other counties and they said, well, if somebody wants to bring a couple buckets or a wheelbarrow and steal it, then they're not gonna worry about it. You know, but if they're gonna pull up there with a big truck and a tractor to load it,
They will
they'll
do
find,
that.
they'll find
They-
out
they will
about
do
it.
that.
And they put out some game cameras or whatever, it's contiguous
Yeah.
places and ultimately, but I'm just saying that would not
Bad
be.
deal, still tell us.
But,
So, because right now Horseman is paying to have the waiver rock hauled down.
on back hauls.
Yeah.
And then,
And what are this, where's this Robinson, what's he hauling?
Loaded
well,
up.
okay, so what I said to you is, okay, so that's true. So when we
I mean,
pick
what-
it up at Florence, which is an in-county load, then
Like
we're
the
paying,
He's picking up Coffee County rock. Is that coming from Waverly?
yeah, I'm saying that it's coming from Waverly.
Now,
I
who's
figured-
paying for the rock?
We are, that, we get a separate bill for the rock, and that's just the hauling right there.
Okay,
That's just hauling, and then we have another bill for
we're
rock.
paying Horseman for the rock.
Yes, we pay Harshman for the rock, $15.39 for that rock, yes.
And you're saying we should buy direct from Waverly, cut out Horshman maybe?
Well, you can't do that, that's Harshman's.
It's
I'm saying
Harshman's
we
Quarry
should-
and Waverly.
I'm saying,
Okay,
no,
okay.
that's not what I said. I
The
said,
trucking.
Nelson has a quarry in Waverly also. What, the numbers that I provided
Yeah.
you are the Nelson numbers, and the service that they provide in the rock is their rock, not Harshman at all. Okay? And actually, we should put out bids on that as well, probably so. I did not even include Woodbine in here because Woodbine is charging $12.15 a ton for their good rock. So I bypassed them as well because we don't buy from, I don't know, there's heartburn about buying from Woodbine for some reason. They're 18 miles away. It is better rock, their test, and I didn't provide you with their test, but their tests all passed, they're fine. But I thought, well, if they don't wanna buy from Woodbine, let's go to Nelson, because like I said, with a .99, then you have all those options with the cement and everything else, and all the mixes, lower trucking. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. That's my thought.
Linda?
Well, I guess, as I'm listening to this, I think we've learned a lot. I think Warren Harshman that came and talked to us, I think that was, but I think, some people could misconstrue this, that we're micromanaging the county engineer, and I don't think we are. I think he inherited the rock problem, and that's where we always bought from, so that's where he's gonna continue to buy from. But based on 2 weeks ago when Mr. Harshman was here, he basically told us, we'll sell you the rock, but it's not gonna hold up, so why are you complaining to us? We keep telling you it's not gonna hold up, and so this is part of the problem, but again, it's like Mr. Bryce sat there and said, we gotta get busy on putting the ditches back in. So his focus, his road and engineer expertise should be getting the roads back in shape. But the county commission needs to decide where we need to buy the rock from. And I appreciate the work that has gone on here. It's educated us. We just assumed this all was gonna be, that it's everybody else's problem. It doesn't sound like it's everybody else's problem. It's all of our problems. It's a piece of the problem. But that was my takeaway 2 weeks ago. We're using the cheaper rock until we finally get the roads fixed. Well, who knows when that's gonna happen? I've been working on this for 5 years. My road hasn't. Someone asked, how long does the road last? How long does this road rock? I mean, we've tried to figure that out. I can tell you that Falcon was rocked pretty much almost a year ago in some of the main spots. I know that for a fact because I was telling Mr. Dalkey, I believe I told him, or I'm not sure who I told, someone out in the hall, that a year ago it was rocked because I was substitute teaching in Newton, and it had an asphalt parking lot, and I had to put my pickup in four-wheel drive, and it dropped off so much mud that I took a shovel with me to put back into the pickup so I could come home. So they rocked it. The rock is gone. We're now using four-wheel drive in those same spots. So the rock is lasting possibly a year. So if you look at that, as commissioners, are you planning on rocking every road every year? Because that would bankrupt us also. So, but I mean, the rock is gone. And this isn't the low spots. This isn't, I'm telling you, it's gone. It's sticky, gone. And I will say, and not that it makes a difference because we step forward and we try to do what's right, but Saturday, our daughter who lives disability supports in McPherson, we had to meet them at the highway because their handicapped van could not come down Falcon to get to our road without getting stuck. So, it's crazy when 20 people use that Falcon Road as the main access to get to work every day. So.
not opposed to, I like the idea of contracting, you know, let's contract 200 tons and let's go string it somewhere. Let's see what it does, see what it holds up to.
And since we're too late for the 2020 contract for them, I thought maybe we could start buying some loads and, like you said, try it. See what, because we're not gonna, especially if we get different trucking or different price on trucking, we're not gonna be spending any more money, we're gonna be saving.
Yeah. I mean, you see the co-ops do it all the time with the test strip on a field. I mean,
Yeah.
you just side-by-side comparison. I mean,
Right.
that's-
So,
Well,
I
would it
mean,
be best to do those, supposedly we got X number of miles rebuilt last fall. It'd be best to test it on the roads that actually are crowned and are draining. I don't know,
Well, yeah.
I don't know where you're gonna, I mean, if you just go dump, you just go dump it into the water holes.
Right.
I guess my
You'd just be
problem is,
wasting it.
I guess my problem is this, with what you just said, and I'm just throwing this out there, is, so we have roads now that are a disaster, okay, everywhere. So why would we just put this rock on the good roads that were already redone, when you have the bad roads, put more bad rock on them? Why would we do that? I mean, because even by putting the good rock on them, for less money, mind you, you're still building a base.
Right. The problem is you take that bow mag in there and you start to rebuild, and if you do it too soon,
Well,
then 2 months later, you've just wasted everything you put
not
in.
necessarily. I will tell you, when I lived up in Dickinson County, and I understand what you're talking about, I lived on a rock road, and all of a sudden, this is many moons ago, but they come through and they decide we're gonna make these ditches. So what they do, they come through and they dug up the ditches, threw that mud up on our rock roads.
Yeah.
You think I wasn't madder than a hornet? I was torqued. Here is our rock road. Now the county went and put all this rock up on there. I mean, all this dirt up on there. You couldn't even see any rock. It was a mess. Well, it was a mess for probably a month, and they did come back and re-rock it. All that rock that was underneath there still contributed to the base.
Well, yeah.
Ultimately, it was the best road ever on the long haul. But there was a month or two, I'm telling you, I was spitting nails. But on the long haul, it's what you do on a rock road. You just have to endure that. And I still say a lot of our roads, although we need the ditches and the crowning, we don't have to go tear that whole side thing up. We can do a little of that and put some of that up. They can even take those blades and they can throw, if you have excess dirt or something there, or excess, you can throw that dirt on that crowning up on the bank.
Yeah.
You can throw it a different direction. I see them do that as well. If it's full of weeds and stuff, you don't have to put it on the road. And then still put your good rock on it.
You're
Yeah, I'm
really
saying we
capable of
need
doing that
to,
with the bulldozer with a 6-way
I think
blade.
every road should be
If-
treated the same with good rock and save the county money at the same time.
I've
Can
been
you keep
told,
it? Can you keep it
I'm just
3
gonna say
minutes?
one, yeah. I've been told that the Volvos, I won't say who told me, the Volvos can do a great job in digging ditches. That's what, there's absolutely no problem with the Volvo doing it, that's all I've been told. And I think maybe that, that's something worth checking into.
Is that the operator or the machine?
Well, it's probably a little both, actually. And so you have to know how to do it. And
I just wanted, I don't know, Mr. Profit, do you know what a backhaul, when they talk about a backhaul?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and
I
so,
was born and raised on a farm.
Okay, so
Had-
one of the
I had
things-
cattle, had feedlots.
Okay.
I've actually run heavy equipment, so.
good,
yes, I've-
good. Well, I just want to make clear, because I noticed that the salt mine, that's what Harshman's are using, is
Yeah.
when the companies come this direction and they all come to Lyons or to Canopolis or to get the salt, they bring rock and they give us a backhaul. So, I mean, we went to Lyons, the basketball game the other night, there were probably 75 semis sitting there to haul.
lined up, yeah.
So that would be a place that we could possibly contact for backhauls.
So you can
And
get,
that would be even cheaper than the $4.
get trucks coming out of Joplin, Missouri, they'd stop and get the load and bring it.
Right, right.
I think that issue gets ironed out by throwing it out for bid.
Right.
When you throw it out for bid, the contractor will find a way, in any way that fits them the best, so that they can offer you the best
Right.
price, so they can beat everybody else.
Yeah.
So,
And one thing I do want to add that I did forget to tell you, the prices I get, the $6.60 for the .99 road rock, and the $8 or whatever I said for the concrete and stuff, if we do a bid with them, like so many ton, they're gonna negotiate that price with us. This is just what you buy right now going in there.
Yeah, you all
Okay,
say,
so,
give me a load now.
again, right, because we missed out on that, but that's okay, I thought that's why we did, because it's still a lot less than we're buying now. So we can even get it cheaper, depending how much, you know, we like it and whatever.
When you say we missed out, Diane, does that mean that we can't go buy some from them?
No,
Okay.
no, we just can't
Yeah.
contract a large amount.
Right.
Right, and they're not gonna give us a discount
Right.
for volume buying, which they do give a discount for volume buying.
Right,
We missed
yeah.
out on that opportunity to put the bid in for 2012.
It
No,
allows
we can
them-
go tomorrow and get
It allows
those
them to
at the
budget for the
660
year.
and
They've
stuff like that,
taken
yeah.
too much on for the year now,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, so,
And I guess the other part is deciding where to put it. That would be with the engineer. I mean, I think that's where you go back. If you choose to go with that, you need to go back with the engineer and talk with, I mean, that's where the team ship building, but it's, to me, it seems like it's gotta be your decision where we're gonna possibly buy the rock. And the other part is, you know, when we stockpile, then the county's gonna have somebody there with the tractor, have that kind of thing, versus if it came straight out. And I know that most of the haulers, they can spread that pretty darn good on a road.
they are
Just,
great.
it
And so-
depends if they've got a semi-trailer or if they got a tandem dump.
Right.
Tandem dump, they could pretty well do it
Right.
pretty easily, but if they've got a semi, it puts them way up in the air.
I have seen some pretty good semi-drivers, so I'm just telling you.
I think some of those truckers are pretty.
Which
good.
then you wouldn't have to
Driveway
stockpile.
with a semi. and
But to go
it's-
down the road is what I'm saying, when they
Well-
get it, when they get a dump, when they get a hole or something,
yeah.
that's when it throws the beds.
Yeah.
You shift the weight and you drop your truck. That's a big deal.
Could be bad.
Yeah.
So,
I do believe though that we should open that up to Harshman's also,
Yeah, of
for the
course, it would-
Waverly Rock. Yes.
You would have to.
Right, well, I'm just saying, I think, you know, this is what we can get, what can you do?
Did you get a test from this? That test that we have right here is his test, right?
who's test?
That 99%.
The 690 per ton. The 99 test is from him this year.
That is from Nelson.
Of 19's test.
Yeah, no, that's a 20, oh yeah, 19. Yeah, it was last year, it was
Yeah.
what, October of last year, I think?
Yeah, 1022,
Yeah, that is Nelson's test, yes. Mhm.
Mixed date apparently was done in the 425 of 19, and the test can be completed in 1022.
And if you flip it on the back side of that, you'll see, that's exactly what Harshman put for that. It's a little harder to read,
Yeah.
and when I had that copy as well, I thought, well, that's
Mhm.
easy to read. But it says the same thing on the back.
And Nelson Quarries is right around Waverly.
Yeah, they have they have a Waverly 10 miles south of the one that's Harshman's right now.
Okay.
Yes. Toronto, and what's that, did I say, Oakley?
Opie.
Oh, Opie.
They have one
And
in
Gas
Opie.
City, and then there was another one or something, but I didn't write that down because I think it's further east. But, yeah.
So you're saying we can't contract, so.
Well, now I don't know, okay, I was gathering information, I didn't press it. But he did say, that they are, they've already got all their contracts for this year as far as bulk. But they will do whatever we want them to do as far as, now,
Because
that's kind of a double-bladed
we
sword,
could,
what I'm saying, but.
we could actually contract something, have it stockpiled,
Mhm.
and knowing that our meeting is in March, to get on page with Bryce,
Mhm.
we don't overstep any bounds there as far as
Well,
requesting it be distributed in the wrong areas, because in March, he's gonna tell us there's gonna be some roads that he wants to work on in May, because that's the time to work on the road.
But if, I guess I
mean,
don't
to
follow you.
rebuild the road.
I
Because,
think he's thinking ahead, Diane, I think just to look and see where you take the rock and stuff, if he comes in a different location than where we may say stockpile or something.
Oh, okay.
I think
Well,
that's what you're saying. Is that-
Even when I say stockpile, they stockpile it for us
Yeah.
at their location. And if we don't have a location to do it here, we can haul it later,
Right.
when we need it. They'll grind it for us and stack it for us, and if we don't wanna go pick it up until March, we don't have to, or whatever.
We just pay the bill. So
Well, we
this-
have to pay for the rock, yes.
Not the storage.
And I don't know, I see it again, I didn't talk, can we pay quarterly, I didn't ask any questions like that, I just
Right.
went for price. There's a lot more discussion with them. what they were willing to offer us.
Well, just after the year that we had last year, I know we gotta start looking at where to save some costs, so. I don't know.
This is huge.
If we can't budget those kind of dollars that we're already spending, drain the general fund. But, I mean, when you bid, if we bid out the hauling, we would bid it at so much per mile. But are they gonna want to say in there, but it's a minimum of, 500 tons?
I'm reading $4 a loaded mile for this gentleman, I'm just taking.
Right,
an example.
right, but I'm just wondering if on a competitive bid, are they gonna say, well, we'll do it for $4 a mile, but we wanna haul 500 tons to do it for that? I don't
Well,
know.
if the next man don't say that, I wouldn't take his
I mean,
bid. I'd take the
oh,
one
we
man
could
who's
try.
gonna put those restrictions.
You'd have to spec it out based on how much you told the quarry you would take. Your selected quarry, whichever one come up with your price, meet your spec, what you wanted, then that would set your amount that you've got to haul away. Then those bids would be placed on those people.
And another thing,
You've
if
gotta
you
get
consider,
this to
some of
us.
these independent truckers that we have now, they already have established different counties that they work for and stuff. But some of these companies, I got one gentleman that I gave you, he's free to just solely work for the county right now. I do know some of your neighbor people that have, I'm sorry, I don't mean to point out, but your neighbor people that have trucks, they're willing to get up and just haul for the county. This is a bad time or some time for them now or something. So now is when they would be willing to, whatever.
Well, they were hauling for the wind farm.
Oh, well.
If it's the one you're thinking about, I'm thinking about maybe.
Probably, I don't know,
Yeah.
I just got an email from
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
I
he
didn't
does.
print it out, it's just an email, but I just wanted to present that today because I just think haste makes, I just think that we need to get on this so that we don't just drag our feet.
Well, here's the way I'm looking at it, Diane, and right now is I want to give this shot a fair chance to work.
To give one a fair chance.
Give this deal a fair chance to work, but we're right in the middle of crappy weather. I mean, no matter what. So what somebody was saying, put it on the good roads, somebody put it on the bad roads. Maybe we need to do it on all.
Yeah.
And see just how, in different test sections and see.
And I think we should take pictures when we put it on and pictures a month later or whatever.
I'm not against that either.
I mean.
It just, but knowing that some roads base in that corner of the county is a lot better because there's rock underneath of it.
Oh, yeah.
And you go versus her part, and then you go to the Gossel part, and then go clear on up to the northeast, way up there. You know, there's just 4 or 5 different bases that we're dealing with, and I don't want to try comparing Linda's area to another area when we do this. I mean,
No, that's fine.
I don't have no problems with trying it. I do like the idea, we know what their trucking cost is, so when somebody says, it's $4 a ton, loaded mile, pretty easy.
Yep.
Or it's $5 a ton, whatever we get the bid at, whatever.
It's $4 a mile.
Huh?
$4 a mile, whatever you get on the truck.
Yeah.
$4 a loaded mile.
Loaded mile, loaded mile. Then, yeah, per
So
ton.
you're not paying for the backhoe.
Or no.
Yeah.
Whatever they get on the truck,
Yeah,
yeah.
if he gets
You don't have to
30
worry about the ton.
He gets 30 tons on one maybe.
Yeah, we made money, right?
Well, there's gotta be a limit too, though, that we don't wanna just buy 18 tons either when you can haul 20.
Oh, no, yeah, for it to be
that's right.
feasible, you need a truckload.
Yeah, so I mean, it needs to be a full load in order to pay that loaded mile.
Yeah, right.
So,
I mean, I like to save money.
Well, yeah, I mean, in this, I'd like to see the rock to guarantee that it's as good as what we think it might be.
I would like that too, that would be pretty awesome.
I'd really like to put it down on a highly trafficked road.
I would like that
and
too.
Get some feedback. You know, you can get these tests all day, every day. Until you see it in action, you don't know.
That's right.
So, I don't know.
Right now,
I'm a proof in the pudding kind of guy, so.
Right now, we haven't spent the budget yet, so now's a good time to try it, I think, and see what.
Anybody know how many ton of rock we bought last year?
Oh, God.
Did anybody what?
How many tons of rock we bought last year?
I don't know, it's easy to
Big pile.
figure
I know,
out.
but that would help in negotiating the price.
Yeah, I mean, if
Well,
we was doing that next year, we can't do it now.
We don't really want to intend to buy as much as we
Well,
did
no, we
last year.
only want about 60%.
Yeah, last year was
Yeah, we only about 50% of what we bought last year.
Yeah.
So at this point, do we want to ask Bryce to determine the road that he wants to put it on, you're saying in high traffic area, probably makes sense, but
Yeah,
You know.
I wanna see it put to the test. I mean, just like anything.
I mean, before we call them up and say.
Oh, yeah,
load us-
correct. We
load
don't
us
wanna
all
jump
these
over
tons.
Bryce. But we definitely want to wait for Bryce's. I think,
I mean, to determine the road
yeah.
and stuff, yeah.
But as
Then we
far
gotta
as,
know whether this guy can spread or not, because that determines something else. I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
if-
absolutely.
My deal then would be, let's just take, if he's coming from down 77 Highway, coming towards Marion County, he'd either probably hit 150 and come to Marion, or 50 Highway, excuse me, 50 Highway, and come in, he'd hit 150 and come over to Marion.
Right.
But what I'm getting at is if we're going clear down to the south end or the north end, clear to the north end, can we beat $4 a loaded mile to take it to either end of the county? I mean, if he's coming to Florence, where's the first possibility or the county line, why not him drop it off? If we had a spot in Peabody or if we had a spot in Tampa, I'm just saying, that loaded mile, can we beat that $4 a mile if he can't spread it?
No, for a county
The-
truck, no.
No, but the number of
He can
miles
go
that he
cheap.
goes would determine that
It'd take us
price.
2 trucks to haul that load.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at
Yeah.
is,
It's cheap if we
so,
ended up in Peabody.
well, that's what I'm saying, then if
And the
we're gonna
county.
have to stockpile it, we want the loaded miles to go as far as we possibly can to the area that it's gonna go to.
Sure.
That's,
And that one that I used, you see, says 115 miles.
okay.
Then we can calculate that all the way from one corner of the county to the other if you want, and
Right.
you'll still see a substantial savings
Savings.
just on what I.
still getting the savings when we take them to the far reaches of the county.
It doesn't matter, the savings are still gonna be, yes, well worth it.
It sounds, I mean, I'm trusting, and if it's.
And I
if
haven't
it's
seen
as-
the rock, but I
if
mean,
it's-
I'm going by what I
Right.
told
If
them,
it's
they
as
said
good
they
as you
have a
say,
different, yeah.
I mean, we gotta do something. We
We've
gotta
gotta
do
You gotta try it.
Yeah.
You gotta try it. I want to try it. I just wanna see it.
So I think we'll wait till Bryce is here to make a motion on purchase of some rock,
It's a very good report.
or do you think,
Thank you.
I'm asking you, Diane, because you put this together and you,
Well, my thought is the commission makes the purchases, we're the financial gurus here.
but are you okay with waiting for the commit to make the purchase until the price is available?
And that would be Monday, am I correct?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I don't see the point in it, but if that's what we need to do a week, you know, if it's good today, it's gonna be good next week, right? Isn't that what we say? So, I mean, I think it's at least it's a step in the right direction,
So
so,
would we
yeah.
have to ask him to determine how many tons we want to get for whatever this road?
Yeah, and
determines?
some of that would be input too, that we would need to know, how much do we want to buy this time around?
That's his job to tell
Yes.
us what,
Yeah.
Bryce is not available today.
what's his slide.
No, I think they're in training.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Well, how about just giving, how about, you're the chairman, how about just giving him, we give the chairman directions and him go down and just make it, maybe it comes back Friday even, put that on, or Friday, I don't care.
I'd like that even better.
That way it's just one step quicker.
How much and what limitation though?
Well, I'm thinking of him just to tell us what we think
Oh, okay.
what we want to try, on how many roads you want to try it on, and we got to still make that decision. You can make whether you said a hard surface or you said a high traveled road. And I'm saying, what's it going to do when you put it on a crappy road? Is it just going to go out of sight?
That would be a good test right
Oh, yeah,
there
I mean,
too.
yeah, I mean, I expect it to,
Mhm.
but
I got a bad road I wouldn't mind trying.
is the price of this rock delivered to us better for our road than the limestone road to build a base? Because if you're gonna dump it in a crappy road,
It's
you're
gonna
gonna
go to
build a
base.
base somewhere,
Right.
then you want a bigger size.
They have various sizes,
Okay.
and I just stuck right, you know, to make the presentation short, not
Was this-
complicated with all these numbers.
What was it? What size was it? Inch or inch and a quarter?
This is your road rock, which is inch and a quarter,
Inch and a quarter.
inch and a quarter, inch and a half, I think it says.
Yeah, to build a base,
Inch
it's,
and a quarter, inch and a half.
2 inch
yeah.
to 3 inch for a
But
base, I
again-
believe, right?
Yeah, they have all that. I'll
Yeah,
get
three's
those
gets big,
sheets and
but-
get those to you.
2.5.
wonder what the price difference is there. Well, I'm just saying, if we're gonna pick up some hard rock, well, it might as well be what we're wanting. If I don't wanna put the dress rock on for a base.
No, they have bigger rock and stuff, like, again, like I said, I just
He's gonna have to
want to keep
determine
the
that.
presentation reasonable.
How many places are you wanting to try? 10 miles? 20 miles of rock of this? 10 miles?
20 miles.
So what?
120. 120.
You're talking
I
about,
mean, let's get a real test.
how many
what's the-
tons per mile?
What's the
And then
dollar
how
of that?
many tons per mile? are we gonna
300
use?
tons.
Once a dollar.
For 120?
Most of the time
Well,
when
we
they
have
rock,
to, now,
rock the
again, how
road,
many
you're
tons per
talking
mile
about,
are you putting down? See, I don't know how many.
200-300 ton a
If you
mile.
look
300,
at,
300 is what's been mentioned.
Yes,
Okay,
so
so we obviously need price.
if you, well, it's in Norm Bauer's report right there, so the question, if you say 10 miles or 100 miles, how many ton per mile are you putting down? Currently, we've been putting down like 200 ton per mile. Norm Bauer's recommends 500 ton per mile. That's on, we just could never afford to do that. So I think we kind of
Was
settled.
that recommendation based on the limestone rock, though?
I don't,
That-
it's in his report.
Does that
We didn't-
change based on density of the rock?
I think that's to build a good road. I think that's standard to build a proper road is what they are recommending.
Well, I was just saying, that could play into effect too, and cheapen the scales too. If a denser rock holds up better, it doesn't need quite as much on it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
then you're buying a less amount.
I'm just
So-
saying, it's in his report, but his recommendation is 500 ton per mile.
Okay.
Takes
Now-
on a 24-foot wide road, it takes 700 tons per mile.
Okay? You have the report right there, but I think it
Good
says
road,
we've
it never,
been, so we've been probably maybe not putting enough, well, I don't know, so that all has to be calculated as well. But we're doing whatever we're doing now anyway, so.
So is it, I'm just asking as I'm listening to this, is it Diane's, is it kind of just the support, the commissioners of support to give to Bryce that it's okay to buy this rock, and then he and you guys will determine where and when?
Where and how
It's
much?
just, yeah, it's just more, she's just,
I'm the messenger here.
I'm
Right.
just thinking that you want the consensus
The
that
way
it's
I'm-
okay.
The way I'm gathering it here is we're developing a direction. and-
Right,
And we need to have the other party play.
right.
So that way we can determine how much we can, rather than just throwing some money out there
Yeah.
and trying to fix a problem by throwing money, you know, that's the other party's
Well,
way of doing things, not mine.
and I will just change your little thought, we're not throwing, instead of saying throwing money, saving money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I got that.
but trying a different approach to what we're currently doing.
So, okay. So we're gonna, did we determine Friday on Bryce, or we're gonna wait till Monday?
And then he can go do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with either day, one's as good as the other.
sounds like we're gonna have a regular meeting.
Yeah, you've already put, you of course paid aid, and then you've got the county counselor, and I'm
Oh,
pretty
county
sure he has a
counselor,
pretty
right.
long
Okay.
list of things, because
Okay.
he hasn't been here for a
I'm
while.
sorry, I'm sorry.
And then you put on the ambulance,
Yep,
real estate acquisition business on
yep,
Friday.
okay,
Wait till Monday.
yep. I realized what that was.
I think that's it so far.
So commission's wishes to
Monday.
Monday. Right. All right, we have second part of public comments. We had public comments this morning for people that needed to get in and get out.
We had a couple things we tabled, a few boards of the county. that
We
were on.
didn't act on the outside boards because you weren't here, Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Now that can be done at a different meeting if you don't want to do it today. Or you can do it today, and then the other thing was when to schedule a work session for the pay plan.
Yes, I would, I know it's not, I don't really want to add it to Friday, but where you guys, the three of you, are overwhelmed maybe, and where you would like to not be on a certain board and have Dave or I pick up. That way we're not,
I want a good one now, I don't want.
I don't want to take something that you
So I'll go first.
And
I'll be
riffle.
willing to share or give away my Pawnee, my Prairie View mental health board.
Okay.
That one right there seems to always catch me at the wrong day. So either one of you who would like to share that, you may certainly do it. The other one is RAPS. I don't have to have RAPS. I will still attend RAPS representing the farm, but I don't have to do it as a representative to the county. So if somebody wants to step in and do that to the county, that's fine, but I will also be there when Kelly's not there.
Perhaps they don't meet on any type of regular
It's-
basis. Some
it's
might be
hit and miss.
twice a year, might be once a year.
Right.
What is that?
It's, well, it's a government program, and things
NRCS.
like that, yeah.
It's Watershed Restoration and Protection Strategy.
I've been on the skid board, and I'd be willing to continue to do that. If I could do the wraps also, just because it's not too much, but I'm also on the solid waste board. And since both you guys are gonna be liaisons to the engineers, I think it'd be
I
nice,
think he needs something to do.
well, or, you know, a representative of the solid
I
waste.
think at this point, during the construction period, since Randy put on that, if Ken's gonna give that up, I will stand up and take that, just because,
Which one?
the solid waste, because if I'm gonna be involved in the construction side of things, it's just naturally gonna flow into things for me to
Okay.
pick that up and learn a little something as the project goes on. You know, it only makes sense. So, not to cut you off, Dave,
No,
but
that's-
they can
Dave
build
needs-
purpose.
Dave needs a spot.
He does, I think he needs to do the mental health board.
There you go. Me too.
I can
He
say that.
needs it.
How do you
I
do
do
it?
it.
Well, is there any two? Is there
I've got two boards, I've got CDDO in Newton, and then I have the board down in Augusta down there.
Mid-cap.
Mid-cap, and,
I'd like to have that.
Well, this shows as a 2-year
Yeah,
term on
he's got a
mid-cap.
term
Well, you know,
Or you, unless you're in,
on CDDO.
and it's 3 years on CDDO, so neither one of those terms are up on those boards, but that doesn't mean you can't
yeah.
potentially make a change.
Mid-cap board is a long, that's why Diane, she got tired of the long trip, and it is a long trip down there and stuff, and back.
It is.
And then we have the evaluation there that I have to just flat say, I haven't been here long enough to evaluate the person that's in charge down there. So that's why I think I asked you something about the other day, if you had any problems there. CDDO is in Newton, and it's for mental, well, handicap things. That was started by Harvey and Marion County back when Northview really dropped the ball.
Had a place here.
Yeah, and then that left, and so we had to start a board there, so I wouldn't, I've been on CDDO once before, and I just went back because Dan had been there, and I'm just furthest one south, closest to those boards down there, so that's the reason why I sort of took them too, because instead of me coming clear back this way, I just went that way. And so if you'd like that one, you know, that other one's a trip, Dave, if you want that too. It's both of them's monthly meetings, every third Thursday on mid-cap, and CDDO.
What's the mid-cap?
Mid-cap is federal
Community
money
Action Program.
and housing and stuff. They built the houses in Hillsborough with Dolores was over there and helped get those there. And then there's projects all over, about 7 different projects. If I have my computer up, I can show you some of the funds and things. So it's a wide board. It takes a while. I've been there 7 or 8 months, and I'm not for sure that I understand all of it yet. So
It's a government, yeah.
yeah, it's quite a deal. And I think we have a president down there that's very sharp. I'd like to sit down and have a tea with him someday and just pick his brain, 'cause he's a very sharp person. I don't know if he was there, Phil, was he there when he?
Yes, I see him there.
do any of those ever report to the
Yeah,
Which
we can just
ones do
take
we
this.
have open?
Not, the CDDO does. CDDO board reports to this commission.
Nobody's committed to Prairie View
Not
yet.
mid-cap?
Not mid-cap.
So I think we should probably just
They
take
got 19
action.
counties.
I mean, being that we have a representative on, it'd be nice if we at least had a thumbnail sketch of
What they do.
what they do.
Yeah.
And figure it out yet.
Um, I asked for that sort of in a long way last year, and that for this year's plans to get it. They don't have no other commissioners
waste
there.
time writing.
You didn't
No.
see no other county commissioner either, did you?
No city officials?
No city official, I didn't
I
see
didn't
that.
either.
So, and so, some of that being said, is I wanted to see why other counties wasn't involved. And that's sort of why I wanted to get that plan back to where they sort of kick out what they do. And then they said, well, let's send it to all, I said, to all 19 counties, that's your area. So, and it's South Central Kansas.
So to clean this up a little bit, I'm gonna go with the solid waste, and I've already said I commit to that as long as there's no objection by the board.
Can we, so you're just gonna like say the names and then do one motion to approve as a slate then?
Yep.
Okay.
Gonna take control of this
Yep.
project.
Yep. Harvey County, Marion County CDDO. Randy was just expressing that.
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
willing to stay on, or do you
I'm
want-
willing to do, if Dave wants it, he can have it, but I have no problem with that. I've been there before, so it's good to see other people see what it does too.
And that one, is that the 3-year term?
That one has a, 3-year term.
So are you okay with serving your 3rd year? Or,
To finish out
and
the
then
term.
switch to someone
Yeah,
else, or
that'd be
do you?
fine. Yeah,
Okay.
if I'm due, is it, my due?
You've
at
been
the end
on
of
for
the year?
2, yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
you
you-
would have one more
Okay,
on that.
Is that all right?
yeah. And everybody's gonna be elected again, there's 4 of us sitting here who's gonna be elected again,
Yeah.
so,
Maybe not.
never know, never know.
Okay, Mental Health Advisory Committee, which is, Diane was talking about, is
Yes.
Prairie View.
Yes.
So,
I would like somebody to take that, but they won't.
well,
Consider.
we don't need people taking more than, we need to balance this out a little bit. So,
I can take it,
are you all right?
I know where they're at. You've been
Okay.
there.
Well, thank
I don't
you.
think do they meet in Newton though, for their
No.
meetings? They meet in Hillsborough.
Oh.
And they
I should
provide
take
lunch.
that one. Well, Dave, if you don't want that one, I'll take it.
You goof, buddy.
Okay, then, we got, mid-cap,
I'm still there.
which is Randy on a 2-year, which is up
Should be the end of
2021,
2021.
June.
June of 21, okay. Well, leave me there.
You all right with it? Okay, so we got Randy at 2 of them now. The juvenile detention.
That's
Diane,
one of my favorite ones. I love that one, and I am the vice chair on that one.
willing to stay
I am.
with it? And there is no term limitations on it?
Not that I
You
know,
know.
everybody that's on that board has been there forever,
Okay.
a long time. But not that I know of, there's no
Okay.
term.
They must have better food, huh?
Serving.
Oh.
That's the problem. Oh, that's not true. They do bring donuts in.
Alrighty, so South Central Kansas Economic Development, I think I picked up Kent was willing to stay there.
That is, if I might explain, that is an at-large position. Randy Collett, who is seated for the Marion County position. So that, not saying it helps us or not, but at least there's 2 people from the county on there. Because there's a lot of city administrator type folks that are on that commission.
You outrank them all.
What's that?
So you outrank them.
No, no, you don't outrank them.
I'm gonna keep Kent. And, well, Randy, I guess, right? The RAPS. So currently,
I said I would take that.
so,
So, and there is one missing, and that is the 8th Judicial, which I'm on.
okay.
And that's similar to RAPS. They only meet quarterly. It's not a monthly thing, and I do also enjoy that one. I'd like to stay on that one.
Okay. So that puts you down for 2 of them.
Then I have 2, yes.
All right. And then Randy's down for 2. Kent, if you take RAPS,
That's 2.
that's 2. Dave's got one, I've got one, Diane's got two, so. I suppose Dave and I need to be in line for if something else pops up, to share the load. Is everybody okay with that? So I'm going to make a motion that we have Joe McGarring on the solid waste, Randy Dahlke on the CDDO, Dave Crowfoot on the mental health advisory, Randy Dahlke on midcap, Diane Novak on NCKRJDF, aka juvenile detention. We're gonna have Kent Becker on SKED, SCKEDD, South Central Kansas Economic Development. Kent Becker on RAPS, Watershed Restoration. And the 8th Judicial Board would be Diane Novak.
I'll second that. Did you make the motion?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We do have one thing it's kind of a offshoot. It still falls into the road discussion from before. It's been brought up to my attention that certain leases pay, $6,000 to $7,000 a year in taxes, and they don't have any rock on the way to get to the lease road to market the oil. So when the oil price goes high, and if it's a simple water sprinkle, not even talking about a catastrophe we're having, that makes it very difficult for that oil to be marketed. And then if it's not marketed in that day, it can drop, and that could be thousands of dollars. Just wondering what the policy is or what it has been on rocking roads. I mean,
Lease roads?
No, not lease roads, but the road up to the lease road. So the county road up to the lease road. And the other thing is, from my experience, working on some of these wells, the pumper goes out there every day. He's running it up every day. And he's bringing it across your good road every day. And ruining that good road every day. So some of that in my mind goes to prevention of ruining your good roads, knowing that that person has to take care of that lease every day. And then, forbid, the well is down and I have to go out there. So then, now we've got two sets of ruts and just destroying that road. It's just something that needs to be conversed about. I know some property tax and stuff like that, it goes to, I think $1,400 on a house, or if you're honestly paying $6,400 on an oil lease. I get it, the bus routes, I get all the other stuff too, but I'm also getting the daily traffic is guaranteed out to that lease every day. So I just don't know what the policy has been in the past, or where we need it, or if we need to even think about it. Just
So is he somebody that has leased land for oil wells and he can't get to and from his wells? Is that what you're trying to say?
they're managing to get there.
Okay, I'll follow you now.
But they're destroying the road every time it rains to get there. But then if a tank of oil needs to be sold because the market is high, they have to just deal with the loss for when the road gets better.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because personally, my opinion on that is it should be treated the same as it is like the farmers getting to their field with their crops, because they lose tons of money too if some of the crops become mature because they can't get in there. Same with cattle, when you have to get in, you gotta get in there. And I think we actually need to discuss that really in depth, because we have, I think, in my opinion, failed miserably to serve our farmers in that capacity. And I would throw that oil business in the same bucket. I don't think we have a policy, but I think we need one
It's not that we have to make any action or decide anything today.
Right.
It's something that's been brought up to me. I didn't want them coming back to the courthouse. They were very angry. But I would like it to be a topic in our discussions going forward.
You know, if we want economic development here in Union County, and if we want businesses and taxpayers, we're gonna have to make a commitment to at least give them, at a minimum, a good road.
The policy's been that if these companies want that, or anybody wants it, you could get in touch with us and we build the road up, and then they pay for the rock to go on top of it. But we do all the preparation work.
Just no different than building a new house.
No, same as the house, yeah.
Well, it's good to know. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, and you know, the oil leasers, they've got trucks and they got, like you said, everyday service going there, and they definitely, they're gonna go no matter what.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of oil lease companies that will they'll pay for the rock, just like we asked. And it's not guaranteed we don't put it back on 2 years later, so knowing that there's a lot of mud coming over and everything like that. But
I tell you, I was out in western Kansas last week, and I literally saw a bulldozer pulling a semi into an oil lease.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was a
And think about
third party to get them in there.
Yeah, think about that.
Yeah, pull it
That
back
we
in
have to go
50.
do to fix after they did all that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So just
But I also see your point in that if we allow them to just do that, long-term, it's affecting us, because it's destroyed the road. So, I guess, just like we do with new homes, if they build the base, if they fix the base and start it, that we always, I mean, with houses, whether we have a tractor going at it or whatever on that new house, we supply, I thought, we supplied the rock to keep that road base up. Because it's to our benefit to do that, you know, but again, the road has to be built right. It can't be just laid some rock and now the county's gotta come in and keep it up, so. But yeah, if we do nothing and they just tear it up.
well, I'm seeing where roads have been, and it's a shame. I mean, I service these leases from time to time, and I see that rock was laid and it's a good shaped road, and I would trust it. I'm good to turn off a Nighthawk, and I'm gonna go down that road, and it gets slimy about halfway down, and I'm thinking, what the heck?
Talk about
And then I start getting closer and closer to, well, not Nighthawk. They would be, Nighthawk, and then get to Mustang is where I'm talking about. And I get up in there, and it gets real slimy. And then you get where the road crosses, it becomes a mud hole because all the mud was drug up and put there.
That's where you get up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, but still the thaw is still there, and it hasn't, and yeah.
I should shed my words a little bit about it. I was about to say I wish they would call me, but no, I really don't wish they would call me.
I'm just saying, you have to work around it, but at the same time, welcome to our world,
Yeah,
so.
no, I get it. I travel a lot of dirt
Yeah,
roads.
I know you do.
Anyway, second part of, unless somebody else has anything from the commission?
Which week are you gone in February?
Yeah, I'll be gone February the 10th through the 14th, but I'll be here at the meeting the 10th.
Okay,
Be
so
here.
we wouldn't
Yeah.
want to schedule a work session the afternoon
Yeah.
that day?
Yeah,
Okay,
right. I'll be gone the afternoon.
okay.
Work session?
I'm just gonna put Randy out. and we can-
Okay. Trace that. All right, second part of our public comment.
Let's be short.
No,
Um,
number did 3 minutes.
One said, and I don't think I'm gonna hurt it, she said, why can't we go ahead and get it okay to buy that rock? I know I'm beating the dead horse, but why can't we get it okayed and then tell Bryce that he can do it? Because we're wasting another whole week and we're getting more rain and snow this week. And we're gonna be in a lot more trouble again. So, I mean, it's like, we need to start now, not next week. And I mean, I wouldn't see how that could be a problem for Bryce then if he's just told he can get it there, you know? And you guys have said it's okay. And you I don't know why you would wait another week. We've got a mess. No answers.
Crickets. Huh?
Well,
I said crickets.
I don't know what we
it's
could.
public comment.
We
so-
could go ahead and approve the purchase of unknown quantity, subject to the engineer's recommendation on where to use it. I mean, that's kind of open-ended,
Yeah.
but
We're talking about, you say 500 tons?
Well, that's what he recommends, but I don't, we
well,
can't.
but that's a number we need to get from him. But I mean, I'm just talking about an open-ended.
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering how much we could just flyball it and say, just to cover a mile. I mean, what amount are we looking at? How many loads are we talking about?
Before you put that kind of rock on, you
400
gotta read
tons,
the ditches
get
out.
that.
Right.
Gotta get the road ready, you can't just choose a mile and go do it, you need to prepare it. And this is the wrong time of year to do this. I mean,
It's the
That's-
best time of the year to lay rock, though.
That's what I was saying, based on the recommendation of where Bryce would want
Yeah,
to
we need to talk to him first.
use that.
I guess what you said is irrelevant, you know, to me, it's irrelevant because where we lay it is not, we're gonna have to lay rock up there anyway, well, on these roads anyway, because of the mess that we have. We're gonna be hauling rock this week, no matter what. So the only thing we're changing is where the truck is coming from, and that's not gonna affect anything that Bryce is doing on an everyday job.
It'd just be nice to see on a few roads maybe how it would do, like Randy was talking about. I'd like to see what he'd do on the different kinds of roads, just for a little while. You don't have to do the whole
Yeah.
road, you know.
So, yeah, we're just saying this is where we
miles.
want you to buy it, and then he can make all the determinations of how
Right.
much. The price should be, at this point in time, irrelevant, because I'm gonna promise you it's gonna be less, especially if you use that trucker or a different trucker as well. Because we're gonna buy it anyway.
And I guess I'm just gonna say that I'm pretty sure he's buying rock as we speak. So where he buys it is what I guess, you know, because he's not gonna wait till next Monday to buy any rock in this county,
Did
so.
you give him this information on those queries?
No,
Okay.
I gave you for the commission first. Again, like what they're saying right now, to me, it was a commission decision, to buy rock at a different quarry and to try something different.
Maybe we should give that to Bryce, let him.
You're missing the point, you're missing the point entirely.
Yeah.
Because he,
Alright, so we need to.
I will
pick-
give this to Bryce,
pick a
by the way.
direction.
I'm not gonna hide it from him, but
Right.
If we're gonna do it, let's just pick a direction. I mean, let's get some rock to cover 4 miles, 5?
that's not gonna do it. 4
I
or
know.
5 houses.
But-
Okay, so I guess what I'm asking you is, so why can't we just tell him the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, next month, buy it from this place, okay, on these roads? And let's
That's a good
really
idea.
get a good taste testing of what we got. If you don't like it, don't go back no more. I mean, you have nothing to lose.
Okay.
You have nothing to lose at
No
this point.
contract or anything.
But then again, do we need to get bids from more than one trucker?
Sure.
I-
Or are we just gonna take one and say,
Well, okay,
go with it?
well, no, okay, if you're happy with the $4, a loaded ton bid, which I am compared to what we're paying now, I've already got 3 truckers out there ready to go tomorrow, okay? So, I mean,
How many trips can we make a day?
I would say at least 2, I don't know, but I don't know, that's up to
Yeah,
them.
we haven't gone
That's
on that.
50 ton, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
Some do 3, but they'll pull in the night before, get loaded and go
Yeah.
back.
see, I didn't get into those weeds because that's the truckers'
Well,
deal.
I like that. That opens up the door. Let's get some laid out on the road. Let's see what happens.
And let Bryce pick where.
Because
And-
Bryce has gotta be picking right now.
Right.
I mean, he's in Salina and he's already trying to figure out how we're gonna get some rock here. And so it opens his door to get some from someplace else to get it laid in Marion County versus, so.
I think
And that
that's a
way,
great idea.
it's a time period that it doesn't lock you down for the trucking because it's open-ended. You're not committed to using them. just for this trial period, whether you don't like the rock, if you don't like the rock, you don't wanna commit to the trucker.
Right, if you don't like what you see when he starts laying it down on all these roads and stuff like that, then you'd stop it at any time and go back to what we're doing.
Could you allow guys to choose the trucking company, but do a maximum price not to exceed a certain amount?
No.
That, well, because instead of just
Right.
picking and choosing a trucker here or there, if anybody is able to be hired, as long as it doesn't exceed that amount, it opens it up to
Not-
So
not
are you
big-
saying a bid?
Well,
I'm
Because
just-
right now, we're picking and choosing anyway.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is,
he's open-ended to choose the trucker of his choice as long as it doesn't exceed $4 a loaded mile.
Got it.
right,
Okay,
that's
I'll
what
go
I'm
along with
saying,
that.
yeah.
Okay, cannot exceed more than $4 a mile, a loaded
Loaded.
mile, yes,
Does insurance mean anything?
that's on there.
Insurance
They
is
will have to meet
important.
the
I mean,
requirement.
Are they licensed and insured?
we should have a copy of
Road
their.
and Bridge should have
their
copies of
insurance.
that.
And they
Yeah.
have $2 million policies.
Yeah, you can't work for certain places if you don't carry good enough
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, but that's not something we buy, they.
Yes.
they buy
They
No.
buy, but
Okay.
they are
They can work cheap
disqualified
without
if they don't
insurance.
carry it.
Right, if we don't have a copy of it, then our insurance,
Yeah, it'll come back.
they
on us.
try to charge us for
They
it.
can't start tomorrow, there's lots of things to get ready.
Okay.
But Bryce will know
Then
that.
we're going forward.
Bryce knows all
Yeah.
that.
So, yeah,
Then we're going forward at least.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
I mean,
Are you
So-
stocking, are these guys dumping or not? I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I think Bryce needs to be involved in
well, that's the biggest thing. We're gonna have stockpile.
that. Because they're hired in right to the department.
Well, I don't think you have too much stockpiling to do right now, because we have so many roads right now that need lost.
Whether their trucks can dump on the go, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sure they
Well, I
can.
would think if they can,
Not that
find
really,
somebody that can.
not that the roads are bad.
What do you do?
What'd you say?
He said not if the roads are bad.
You can't get a big 80,000-pound semi down some roads.
You go backwards. You lay the rock
Yeah,
and,
okay.
and they, actually,
No,
that
no,
is true.
it's
They tip it and
it's
they
how
go
they-
backwards,
it's how
and
they
so
do
they
it.
go over the rock.
I mean,
So-
they're very skilled in their job. They
It's
can
still,
milk cattle
it's,
real quick
it's,
too.
it's still not, smooth. It's,
No, but we've lived with that.
We're living with that right now.
That, yep.
And I'd rather go out go on that than go in the ditch.
We're just trying to
like we're
micromanage
supposed to
here. That's
Many times.
not our job.
so what's,
No.
what's the timeline? What do we gotta do a motion here?
Do we need to do a timeline?
Well, we wanna
Because it's gonna
go
rain
ahead and
this week,
approve
so we
rock.
probably won't be doing anything there, I mean,
Want to approve buying only rock from there for a certain amount of time, so that way we can
okay.
get the test subject down. So we do need to set a timeline for
Okay.
the directive on how long he needs to be purchasing from this place.
What about the county trucks?
I would think they would go that distance, that would be extremely expensive.
We got county trucks going to Quarry, Florence all day long.
But then they
That's
can
what
start
you
working
want.
on the roads.
Huh?
They can start working on the roads.
Yeah,
And we don't have all the equipment we need though.
Because you got all gravel. Well, and if someplace we shouldn't be.
Well, they can also be addressing other areas
Mhm.
that need to be dealt with.
Well, your grader would probably have
That's
to
a
get in there
plan
and do a few
that Bryce
things.
really needs to come up
Yeah,
with, because
it's
he's
not our
got to
job.
know how to utilize what he's got and where to put them if they're not gonna be running those tandem
Well,
trucks.
and even if you're making a major decision that's gonna affect that department, really, the department head should be involved in that decision too.
We're just
to-
purchasing
in the
rock.
discussion to
All
a
this
degree,
other
so that they
stuff.
know what they're doing, instead of hearing about it all after the fact,
Right.
when they're not available at a meeting. Just as a courtesy.
so we're the financial people here, so we're just determining to buy the rock. Now, and I had never had a problem with Bryce making all the other decisions, where, when, and all that stuff. I'm just saying we need to start buying the rock. That's all we're doing.
Give him direction, that's what we should buy it.
Then,
Let him decide when we buy it.
then you need to we need to come up with a quantity.
No.
Otherwise the other way opened it up for a timeline.
Why do we have to make it so complicated? Just say we're gonna buy rock from this place for the next, whatever it is, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
Just like we do Harshman's.
Yeah.
We don't determine how much we're gonna buy from them.
No.
We're just going to buy from a different rock quarry and leave it till Monday. Cause he's gonna be buying a lot of rock between now and next week when you guys meet again. I mean, there are he's going to have to buy rock out there. So let him buy during those times and put it down. And then when he comes back, but it's just an open thing of saying, we're not saying we're gonna buy huge amounts, we are not tying into any trucker, but we wanna buy from that quarry, we wanna bring rock in based on whatever Bryce feels like we need. He needs to tell us on what road, what kind of rock we need.
Well, yeah,
And just be done. But it's just saying, you guys are in agreement that he gets to buy it from that, instead of staying with Parchman's.
Yeah, it's just trial and error to see what it does.
But you don't think so?
The problem in here is we are the policy leaders, right?
Right.
So we're just giving him a directive
Right.
that is a non-enforceable anything. It is basically, no, we just want you to buy this rock, and he's still gonna do whatever he wants to do.
No.
Yeah, because there is no policy directive set forth, and that's what I'm getting at. We have to
start on
come up with something concrete, otherwise, he just does business as usual.
That would be a mistake.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we are the policy sets, so we need to set policy if we're going to set policy. And if we can't come up with a amount, and if we can't come up with a timeline, we can't come up with a policy.
Okay, so if you wanna pick an amount, pick a timeline. Okay, I don't know, let's say 20,000 ton. There's a number for you, 20,000 ton. And I don't even know, that might not be much, cause.
That whole rock ledge.
Yeah.
How many roads with that rock? Not many.
300.
300, 500.
500
ton
tons, if you
of
figure
rock,
500
a
tons
mile.
per mile, you're doing
A mile.
4 miles.
A million ton per two.
Do you have
Oh, that would do quite a
A
few.
million ton per two.
Do you have to set policy? I guess my question is, do you have to set, because you're opening another quarry, because we've always just talked about Ham and Harshman. And I guess the
Well,
presentation
I'm
was.
okay with that, but what I don't want is the public coming back in here next week screaming and yelling, because we're still buying from Marshall.
Well, right, but
And
your
And
direction.
we can't enforce,
Right,
if stuff needs to get done, it needs to get done.
right,
So unless you tie some sort of hands,
right.
it's gonna go the direction that it needs to go.
and he's got a job scheduled for Tuesday morning. I'm sure the guys already know
And they're gonna be
where
picking
they're
up.
going Tuesday morning, what they're off, they pick up.
So we can't,
They leave town at 7:15, they all go east every
So-
morning, I meet them,
Is the class just for today, or is it for the week?
it's one day.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
He went to get recertified on something.
But
Yes,
he
ma'am.
took Jesse with him and
They both had to be
Tom.
recertified.
And Tom too?
Yes,
It's interesting, I'd like to know what that
something
is,
for the
but.
state.
But anyway.
Something to do with their job.
Okay, so if he's just today, we could say, starting on Thursday, that way whatever he has planned for the next 2-3 days isn't gonna be interfered, and by Friday, he can start someplace else.
I would think he'd be glad to try something else because
Right.
what he's using is not working.
Right.
And we can leave it that way.
We can suggest it to him, we can't demand
We,
it.
you know, so we can leave it as a directive
I don't understand why
and the
we
board's
can't
wishes.
demand it, he's our employee.
Well, I don't have no problem with that. I'm just looking at Bryce's position. You're sending him something down to do, and he may have 5 trucks sitting around doing nothing then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gotta figure that out, what he's gonna do with everything. Now, I don't have no problem picking this and picking them out. I don't have no problem with that, but leave the rest of it up to Bryce. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
just there, but I think we gotta pick a reasonable amount for what we wanna do.
Yeah, and see, I don't even know why, but I guess if we have to make a policy, because honestly, I don't even know that we have the mindset or the skill to pick an appropriate amount at this.
And that's why we're getting out and meeting Bryce.
He's, okay.
That's what this is all going back to, is he's not here, so.
Everything is circling right back to where we need it.
So then I guess we're back to having you here on Friday.
But I also appreciate that it sounds like it's a consensus of you guys and ladies that to try this. And I think that is, and I'll just be honest with you, I would think that Mr. Goebel would appreciate that it's not just about him and he's not quote, doing his job, but it's the quality of the rock that we've been using has also impacted a huge. So, to try something else seems like that's
I
what.
think he needs to get this information and
Yes.
digest it for 24 hours.
Right. But that you guys are in agreement that it's okay. It's not
Oh,
going
yeah.
against your wishes.
It's saving money, it's.
Yes.
Based on the numbers we're looking at, it's kind of a no-brainer, but we need to let him figure out all the
Yeah.
details.
Right. The sooner the better.
So-
Yes.
So we're back to having a consensus for Bryce and then meeting with him on Friday, which would be the directive anyway. So he's going to catch wind of this. He's
Well,
gonna
if
hear
he
that.
gets all the paperwork and he can look at it, man, he ought to be
He'll be ready.
Right.
jumping for joy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It affects his budget.
Oh, yeah. Public comment went way. I was doing good today.
I didn't last the 3 minutes you did.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I love how you step in and do that. I'll second that. You did it last week too. How many in favor? 5-0.
I got that down pat.
I will somewhere. Maybe. I hope.